seconds to respond here without interrupting.
All good from your guys' paradigm, but from my
No,
paradigm,
we're saying it's bad, you idiot. What are you talking about?
God is the one that dictates whether something is alive. So basically, when God kills, it's not murder.
But this is the thing that had nothing to do with anything. This is the thing, Pepe. This is what's so what Mezzo is trying to tell you, but you got to really try to pay attention, okay? I think you can get it, but you're going to have to think real hard with us, okay? So there's two goals going on. You have a goal and we have a goal, and those goals dictate our morality. Our goal is something along the lines of reducing harm. Mezzo has a lot more words, but
Joel, I'm sorry, but you got to be out of your mind if you think he's following this.
No, I'm following it.
Okay, all right.
That's why I'm not interrupting.
Carry on.
Okay. So we both have goals. Our goal, or I'm going to say my goal, is reducing harm. Now, harm we can measure scientifically. We can figure out what harm is. So that's what I'm going to try to do. That's what I'm going to base my morals on.
How do you measure it scientifically? Sorry to cut you off.
You just go, like, here's an example. Oh, no, that guy's foot got cut off. That's harm. Like, you can see that. They're bleeding.
How does lying harm?
Well, depends what the lie is and the situation. You'd have to, like, measure that. So if like somebody
it hurts someone's feelings, like it breaks the trust if they find out. If you lie and get away with it, it might not harm anybody.
Yeah, like I would say like a fraud is a type of lie. So you're lying and telling a person something to get their money and then they can't eat the next day because they don't have money. That would harm them.
Sure, but I can think of lies that would like benefit people. Like if I were like, young Pepe, you're doing great right now. You know what I mean? Like that might encourage him to feel like, oh, I'm doing good. Like that was like a good lie. So it didn't cause harm. So maybe it's okay.
So yeah, so sometimes under our worldview of harm reduction, let's say, if that were our goal, lying would not always be immoral. So
that's situational.
Yeah, exactly. Now, under Pepe's worldview, Pepe, your goal, and I don't want to put words in your mouth so you can agree with me or disagree, your goal is to please God.
We'll pretty much follow God's commandments, but
right.
But when I'm saying going back to your first point,
hold on, young Pepe. So you want to live? I want to finish my diatribe. So you want to live up to God's morality? Is that true?
Well, like here's the thing that my claim is that there is no morality outside of God. It just
we know. So, but my point is, your goal as young Pepe is to live in God's morality, to follow God's morality, correct?
Could you repeat that?
Your goal, you're right. I don't think you did follow any of that stuff.
No, there's a lot of noise. That's why.
Your goal.
That's Joel.
Your goal is to follow. Your goal is to follow.
Allowing this to happen.
That was good. Your goal is to follow God's morality.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say it's my goal, but what I'm saying that it's the only logical conclusion.
That's wonderful.
It's like at the end of the day, secular humanists, they can have
Pepe. Check out this.
Suffering, but they're illogical ultimately.
So we both have goals. You're calling yours the logical conclusion, but it's your goal. But our goal is based in something we can measure. Your goal is based in something that is, as Mezzo says, a secret that God is keeping from you. So we have a more practical goal. That's why our morality is better than yours.
I'll even say this, young Pepe. Mm-hmm. I'm going to agree with you, just for the sake of argument here. We don't have morality. You do.
So
Atheists don't have morality. We do have preference. Yeah, I know. You win. We do have preference. We do have preferences, though, right?
Not thank you.
No, I just hear me out. Do you agree that we have preferences?
I mean, arbitrary preferences, yeah.
Arbitrary or like personal preferences. It's not necessarily arbitrary. It's like based off feelings and things that we want and our desires and like the desires for the people that we love. Like we have preferences for them and for humanity, and we can, based off of those preferences and conversations, like build a code that's not morality, but like a code of rules of how people should and should not act in order to achieve the best preferences so that society is the most like thriving it can be.
So
we are able to do that, right? Even without morality?
Well, but basically, I'm saying that if you have nothing objective to stand on, everything goes out the window.
No,
Like,
listen to what I'm saying, though. We do this, though. We're not like when we write a law that says don't throw ninja stars, no one asks God, what's the rule on this? We go, hey, does everyone want to vote on whether or not we should allow throwing stars? And we vote on preferences. So it's not morality. You cooked us on that. We don't have that. But we do have like a bunch of rules of things that people should and should not do in order to like be in a society, right?
Yeah. Well, just kind of how you conceded with me, I'll concede that from your guys' worldview, you know, like with secular humanists, they do a lot of things that would on the outside seem good, like, you know, help the poor. Like essentially what you guys have done is that you guys have created pretty much a rule set that in your guys' worldview lessens suffering and benefits humanity. But
so, young Pepe, you're not like following what we're saying at all, and it makes me want to move on to a better guest. Sam, did you have anything you wanted to try with this guy at all before we like maybe talk to someone more like engaged?
Sure. Well, what did I get? You just don't like my answer.
Small peepee.
What's up?
Hi. Do you think slavery is bad?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Wait,
do you think
does he
God thinks
technically
slavery
mean
is
like
bad?
to the it's absolute?
That's what
Objectively, absolutely, every time, no matter what?
Well, I know you guys are gonna say that God condoned it, but basically what it was is that without God, slavery is kind of like something that humans do innately and biologically. When one tribe dominates another tribe,
biologically,
yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
when one tribe dominates another tribe, they take their resources, and then that during the Old Testament that kept happening on and on and on until Jesus Christ came and he put an end to that. But without Jesus Christ, it relegates. It's just kind of like when you see two lions fighting for a pride in the African savannah.
Okay.
I remember when Jesus did that. He was like, guys, stop with the tribal slavery. Enough already.
But yeah, you guys know I'm right. Atheism is illogical, and you guys have no basis for morality.
No, actually, I don't. So if you could do me a quick favor, right, and if you could show me a singular source, and I just mean the one, that says slavery is biological. Not that even necessarily matters unless you appeal to naturalism, which if you do, that means you think grape is okay. But anyway, can I just have the one source, a paper, peer review?
So here's the thing: before you guys appeal to emotionalism, because this is what atheists.
Wait, what?
This is what atheists do.
What are you reading these words out of?
No, because what happens with atheists is that they get emotional and they start cutting me off.
I gotta agree. This is what we do.
It's pronounced emotionology.
I'm gonna agree with young Pepe again. This is exactly what atheists do. We sit here and we give great examples and refutations, and then your side does like absolute slobbering nonsense. No one has any idea what you're talking about. You're about to do a bunch of meta commentary. You have nothing to offer. You can't show one. Show where it says that. Show where God says that. You say lying is absolutely 100% always wrong. Prove it. Offer something. You're just talking out of your ass. You're not speaking for. Are you the voice of God?
So like here's what I'm getting at. Even like the other, I think her name is Sam. You know, she was saying that. Oh, so you don't think grape is bad? But like ultimately, us as humans, since we feel
you're just not tracking the conversation. That's not what she said.
That's not what I said.
Not at all what she said, and you're an idiot. All right, there's got to be someone smarter here. Go like to school.
So long, farewell, Avita Sena, good night.
Oh, close enough.
Well, there was other people in the guest request, and they left. All right, Young, you can come back in. The other people who left, there was like 3 in there, and they all left. They could tell that I was on my way of ending this. Here's somebody. That was just a bit too hard to, like, how many times could we tell him you're not tracking what we're saying at all?
Yeah, he wasn't there for a conversation. He was there to...
Is he back?
Yeah.
Oh, that was you, Joel? That was
No,
that was good.
he's back
That
in
was
the
spot
guest
on.
request, but yeah, that was an incredible impression.
I was spot on.
I'll try you again later, young Pepe, but every time we were cutting off was just because you weren't responding to what we were talking about at all, and I don't think you were like following the conversation. I'm concerned about it. Snorchor? What is it?
Snorgor?
Snorgor, welcome in. How old are you?
I am 36.
And what's your religion?
So, before you guys cut me out of here, I actually need yours and Joel's help. I've been watching you guys for a long time. I'm agnostic, but I've always been wondering, like, where was your guys' tipping point to where you decided that there was absolutely no God for sure?
Oh, yeah. Well, Sam's here too as well, so just, don't be rude.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sam.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, look, we can probably share a little bit of that. Probably all three of us. I had a slow tipping point personally. It was a thing where I realized that at some point the God of the Bible wasn't real, and that this story can't be true. But I was still scared of it, so I wouldn't say it out loud. And when I thought it, I would go like, "Don't think that. Don't think that. Don't think that." That's scary. I'm still scared of hell. I'm scared of like even earthly punishments. And then that wore off over time. And it was around like in my mid 20s. And I took some philosophy classes, and that helped me realize that other people thought that there wasn't a God. I thought I was the only one. So that was like scary for a while. And then once I realized other smart people led perfectly fine lives, it was like, oh, okay. And I became a little more willing to say it. And, I probably had a few like, nights of like, do your worst, shouting at nothing just to test it and see if something would happen. It didn't. And so after a while I was like, okay, there's just not a God. And now I can just say it and it doesn't like bother me or worry me. In fact, it feels like honestly like relieving, because before, when you're like doing all the mental gymnastics, you see this thing as impossible and you're trying to like, bob and weave and put it together and make sense of it and like connect strings like a conspiracy theorist in your basement. And it's like, it's got to be because of this. And then free will goes over here. It doesn't make sense. And that's a lot of like work that's happening in your brain. And so once you finally go, yeah, there's just no God, you go, oh, well, that's so much easier. What a relief to my like psyche,
But I mean, even with like the perfection of like the earth and the moon and everything and its rotations and stuff like that, it's just I just struggle with it. I've been watching you guys for I don't know, maybe a month now, and like insights on the Judeo-Christian Bible is really interesting, and I never knew the stuff that you guys point out on here. It's really interesting. It's just I just struggle with just like the perfection and stuff like within my children and stuff like that, and they're not perfect, but just the miracle of that, I guess, in a way, and having children and stuff like that. And I don't know, I've tossed it around. I'm not really necessarily looking for anything direct from you. Just
here's an interesting point. You know how like when you watch somebody win a Grammy or something and they get up on the stage and they'll be like, yo, I'm here as proof that you can do anything you put your mind to, right? And then everyone gets really inspired by that. That isn't true. But we hear it a lot because the people who get microphones, because they got there, they put their mind to it and it worked.
so
And
you're
then they
saying
get to
it's
say
more-
that.
It's
So
more
what I'm
of
saying is,
instilling it in you.
what I'm saying is where we are right now in the universe in regards to where the sun and the moon and the earth is, how your kids survived, you're in a good position. You have a bit of a privilege. So you're able to say, look at like all this stuff is so perfect.
Sure.
So you're telling me I can't be a stripper?
I don't think you have to put a ton of mind into that.
Really?
I wouldn't know for sure. Like,
Wait, so can I do it or no?
Sam, I think you can do anything you put your mind to.
Oh, yay! Okay.
So I guess kind of so. I mean,
the point
you guys-
sorry, just to be clear, the point I'm saying is that you have this privilege, but for the babies who die before they're born, that you don't go, well,
we're born
look
with
how-
some kind of disease.
look how
that's-
perfect this is.
Sure.
Yeah, like you're just basing like your belief off of your privilege.
Sure. No, that makes sense. And so you sought out different like religions and stuff like that to try and double check everything and make sure
I did
that
a little.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I'm at right now with just kind of searching religion and stuff like that to try and find something where
I think
there's
this close by. This is a pocket version of the Tao, and I got this in college at some point. I don't know if it was like someone gave it to me. I don't remember, but I was like, "This is cool," and I just read it, and it gave you that feeling of ancient text, like ancient wisdom that the Bible does. It's like you feel like this is cool because an ancient person is telling me this, and then later you realize this also isn't true. But I just like was able, it's easier to get rid of this because I wasn't indoctrinated by it. So I switched to this for a little bit and was like, this is so cool and stuff. And then I was like, oh, this can be cool, but I don't have to like be scared of it or live my life by it. I can like take some ideas out of it and then also get ideas from like anywhere else, and it doesn't matter. It's easier to like not have to do crazy mental gymnastics to make the Tao be real because I wasn't indoctrinated by it, you know, indoctrinated.
So, I mean, could you say that it's you guys maybe follow some of the different things that are in these different religious sects and kind of keep those sort of principles to align what you're doing with atheism?
I mean, I don't think like, okay, like we were talking about with the last one, like lying, right? So I also don't like lying, but I don't think it's because the Bible says. It's because I think about like, I'm like, oh, I wouldn't want to be lied to. I don't want to live in a world where people are all lying to each other. I respect the truth. So that's why. So like I have my own reasoning behind it. And so the ones that line up because back then they were realizing we don't want to live in a society where everyone's murdering each other. Let's make a rule that says don't murder. Yeah, that's great. I'm on board with that. But not because they said it, because I want to live in a society where we're not murdering each other, right? Like it's that reason.
So it's more based off of like a totalitarian sort of the greatest good for the greatest amount of people.
I don't know if that would be totalitarianism or not. But yeah, I mean, I look at like, I usually call it holistic consequentialism.
Okay, that makes sense.
Maybe that's a more abstract word for it. Maybe yours is more useful, honestly. But yeah, the idea of like, all things considered, how do we make this experience for everyone the best we can?
Cool. Well, thank you so much, and I won't take up any more of your guys' guest space because I know what you're looking for. So
this is great. So like, look, if you're like, we do this for you. We don't do this to like yell at Christians. That's no. Side effect, but it's for people who are on the fence. That's what this is for.
Okay. All right.
You're like the exact target audience. In fact, Joel, did you want to like jump in on any of this?
I think everything you said, I kind of like agree with. Obviously, Snorgor, you're not really looking for us to be like, well, why did we leave the Judeo-Christian worldview?
Right.
You know, like, you know, that's old news. But more of the idea that like there are still mysteries in the world. So how are you so sure that there is absolutely no God? I think is what I'm hearing from your question.
Yeah.
And I think that like me personally, I did leave Christianity more recently than Mezzo. And I've only started sort of like just accepting the title of atheist, because I think I was maybe in a similar place that you are, where it's like, well, I haven't looked at every single religion. Like I haven't done my research. I'm out of one of them. I don't want to be duped again.
Sure.
But like, what do I know from like the whole entire universe and how everything came to be? Like, I don't know the answers to those things. But I think that what I'm starting to like, just like accept is that if I don't have some sort of evidence or some sort of reason to believe in something supernatural, there's no reason for me to like just put that in that gap right now until I figure it out. There's no reason for me to be like leave myself even necessarily open to it. I guess I'm like generally open to it. I'm open to being convinced of anything if it were to.
It's like if you said, are unicorns real? And it would be like, well, you know, we haven't found evidence of any unicorns here on Earth, but maybe they're on other planets. So I'm kind of, you know, technically agnostic.
Yeah.
Like, sure, technically you are, but like, come on, like for now, until we find one, we can say, no, there's no unicorns, obviously.
Right. Yeah,
and
I'm used to
the bigger one
being a fictional thing.
Well,
I'm used to them being.
But the bigger thing is like, if the story of unicorns is, or I use my omni purple cat, but I can do with unicorns. It's like if the story is that there's a, let's not use a unicorn. There's a Schmorgblog, and the Schmorgblog lives on a different planet, and it's all purple. It's an omni purple creature. It's also half yellow. Okay, this thing can't exist. This is a contradiction now. The story is a contradiction. So maybe the description's wrong, and maybe there is something Schmorblogish out there, but it's not as it's described. So when we look at the books, when we look at any of the books, they all have contradictions. Like the story of God is contradictory. They have these omni properties that make it literally fucking impossible to exist. So you can toss that out. And then if there's some other thing out there, just wait till you get the evidence and then believe in it.
Well, where I'm kind of at is, do you know the term syncretism?
No.
So syncretism is that so the story of like a virgin birth, death, and resurrection predates Christianity by thousands of years, back to the Sumerians and stuff like that. And so many other cultures have used that exact same story. And so that was what was kind of keeping me hanging on, was just that idea that this story has been around from time immemorial, and it's played through whether Jesus was a real person or not. Somebody back in ancient Samaria believed that there was this type of thing going on, this story that syncretized itself.
There's a really fun video that I watched recently, and I kind of like speak to it a little bit in a video coming out about typology. But it's a video about Jack and the Beanstalk. And Jack and the Beanstalk is actually a story that, you're not going to believe this, is like 5,000 years old.
Really?
This is an ancient story. So this YouTuber goes over the history of Jack and the Beanstalk, and then sort of like compares it to stories like Prometheus is kind of like a Jack and the Beanstalk type. And there are many different Jack and the Beanstalk type things, or it has influenced certain archetypes and storylines in modern times. Do you think that somebody got some beans and planted them and a beanstalk grew and there are giants in the clouds, or like anything from the Jack and the Beanstalk story? Obviously not.
I'm agnostic.
I'm agnostic. It's a fun story. It represents something, but it's not like real in any way.
That's
so
cool.
Just because we see things and we have patterns that exist through our storytelling, there's no reason to believe that they're based in some sort of like actual reality of something supernatural.
Okay. No, that makes sense.
It's very likely that some stories, like oral tradition stories, were like started, 300,000 years ago, when we were like at the dawn of Homo sapien. You know what I mean? Like we were communicating and starting stories while we were all still in Africa, right? And then some of those stories like spread out as the walkout happened. They had to remember that walkout. They were on strike against Africa and everyone walked out. Like, I think it's very possible. I have no evidence for this, but it's very possible like those stories have been changing together for that long. And so, yeah, people are going to have similar stories. We steal stories. That's fine. It's something humans do. I think like the important thing to remember is that until every single natural explanation is like ruled out, then we shouldn't assume some supernatural thing happened. That's just bad. Sense. That's bad evidence, like so trusting.
You're looking for proof-based evidence in your search.
Yeah, what's possible here? That a long time ago someone told a story about a virgin birth, and that story was so cool that people passed it down, or that it really happened. One of them has magic in it. One of these explanations is magic. So go with the one like between those. This is Mezzo's razor. Do you know about philosophical razors?
Occam's razor.
Yeah, Mezzo's razor is, if one of the two explanations is impossible, now we can probably just ignore it.
I got you.
That's fine.
Well, cool. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, hang out in the chat. Listen, make friends. And we're gonna bring young Pepe back up, so you'll see what happens when you.
Good luck with that.
Don't make friends with young Pepe, Snore.
I won't. I promise.
Touch you.
When he's up here, he will still be in.
No, I'm leaving.
Do not make friends with him.
Well, hold on, Snore. Do you want to ask young Pepe any questions about why you should? Because young Pepe, you have an opportunity to keep this man a Christian. He's on the fence here.
Young Pepe, what would you say to everything that I've said so far? What are your thoughts on keeping me on your side of the fence?
Oh, I wasn't paying attention. I was engaging the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that answers my question then.
Well done. Well done, Snore.
All right, you guys take care.
Take care. Thanks.
Good night.
Bye, Snoring.
All right. So our next guest is Young Pepe, but it's 8. Oh, God, it's after 8.
Oh, shit, it's the top of the hour! And that means it's 11:39. 11:39 is the top of the hour. 11:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are here at BBD's. That's Bad Bible Debates with Mezzo hosting the debates of the evening. We've got Sam hanging out. How's it going, Sam?
Hi. Very well.
And of course, it's me, JRB. And unfortunately, we have young Pepe in the hot seat. Mezzo, it's your moment. 11:40. It's the top of the hour. Take it away, babe.
Oh, fuck to the yeah. Love it, love it. Welcome back, Young Pepe. You're the next guest here on Bad Bible Debates. What did you want to bring up with us today on this brand new episode of the show?
Well, I kind of realized that, this show isn't really for, intellectual or honest discourse. As soon as I bring up a good point, you guys just happen to cut me off and then say that I'm just ranting.
Maybe we didn't hear it. What was the good point?
That's what I was going to ask.
The good point is that as an atheist, you guys have no claim to objective.
No, can't hear it. Can't listen to it. Will not listen to it. That's too good. Oh no, I can't deal with that. Oh no.
Wait, I want to really hear the point. What's the real point? Atheists don't have logic or something?
Well, atheism is inherently illogical.
Show that. What's the contradiction in atheism?
Well, something cannot come from nothing. Life cannot come from non-life.
Where'd God come from?
Well, hold on. I think that's true.
Right, but where'd God come from, though?
Well, you made 2 points, Young Pepe. You said something can't come from nothing and life can't come from non-life. So I agree with one of those, but you agree with both of those. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Which one do you think I agree with?
I think you agree that life cannot come from non-life, but I think you also believe that the universe is eternal.
Wrong. Okay. So I disagree. I think that something cannot, or I agree with, I think something cannot come from nothing. I don't think that matter or energy can just spontaneously erupt into existence. I don't think that can happen. Do you think that can happen, Young Pepe?
No, God created everything.
Out of what?
Out of just his command, he says, "Be and it is."
Right. So matter and energy erupted, but they were already there. What did he use? What was it before he turned it into the universe?
Well, it was just him existing eternally. God is not material. He's a spirit. So, he can't be confined by logic.
Right. Yeah, no, I know that. But so when the material part came, what was there before the material part? I know now there's God and the universe. Before it was God and what?
No, it's just God existing eternally. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
What was with God?
How do you call it? Jesus and the Holy Spirit. They existed eternally.
The universe is made out of Jesus?
Jesus created the universe.
Out of what? Like, what did he use to make it? Jesus and the Holy Spirit and God are all God. So there's gods and something else. What's the other stuff?
There is no creator besides God.
Right. So I know there's no creator, but the stuff, the material, like, look, when I make a car, I make it out of parts. There's metal, right? When God made the universe, what did he make it out of? What's the stuff he used?
Well, like it wasn't just stuff. He can just, it's like if I get on the computer and I program a video game, I can just, create things out of the program. And in the same way,
Yeah,
God
but you
is
have
the
to use a
ultimate
computer and a keyboard and all that stuff. What did
It's
God
plugged
have?
in. There's energy, right? There's software making. Like, is that what you're talking? Are you saying that we're a computer program?
No, but I think a computer program is a good analogy for understanding, the way the
I
universe
know that, like, where
works
the
and operates.
programs came from is interesting, but where did the stuff come from? The material. Where did the computer come from?
Well, like God can just generate out of nothing because he's God.
There it is. Okay, I knew we'd get to it eventually. All right, young Pepe, you've lined yourself up into another contradiction. It took a little longer than I thought it would, I'll be honest with you. You dodged a bit. Something cannot come from nothing. God made it out of nothing. Therefore, your story is contradictory. You did mention that God is illogical. I agree with that. I think illogical things are impossible. Do you want to explain why you think logical things can exist? Or, sorry, illogical things can exist? Look at me making contradictions.
Well, like, but before we get that, to push back a little bit, how do you call it? It's not a contradiction because God is not confined to logic. Humans are confined to logic. But God, as the creator and programmer of logic, he is not confined to that.
Do you think God could make a babe so hot that even he couldn't resist lusting after her?
Well, like all those questions, like can God create a rock so heavy that he can lift? That
Okay,
all
if you want
goes
to
back
make the boring one, but I think the babe's more fun.
Pepe, do you think God could make a meme so funny that even he couldn't not laugh at it?
So like all
It's
of
just
those,
Earth.
all of those are presupposing that God is
God
confined to
can
logic.
make a strap that's so big that even he can't take it.
Sorry, like a strap on, like a dildo?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Joel, do you remember when we used to try to say dildo as many times as we could in Alive?
I told you guys we're gonna appeal to
The
emotions.
good old days, eh?
Sorry, we're appealing to dildo emotion. Sorry, young Pepe. You're right.
Those
You
are my
caught us.
favorite kind.
You caught us. Okay, so Pepe, which one of these silly questions do you want to try to answer?
So like all of them essentially are asking a single question: is if God can be confined to his logic. But like I was saying, us as humans, we're combined to logic, so we cannot create that. We cannot even conceive of something like that. But God, as the creator of logic and transcended beyond space, time, and matter, he's able to do it. How he's able to do it, only he knows, because he's a higher being than us. Us, as we're limited beings confined to logic, so we wouldn't be able to do that.
Okay, I know we can't do it. I think the reason we can't make a babe so hot or a dildo so big, or what was Joel's?
A meme so funny.
A meme so funny, is because we are confined to logic. That's why we can't. Because those things are impossible to make. I think they're impossible even for illogical beings, right? Like, once you're illogical, do you know what it means to be illogical?
So, what I'm saying, he's beyond logic.
Do you know what it means to be beyond logic? Do you know what you're claiming right now? It means he doesn't exist. He's impossible. It's literally, actually impossible for God to exist. I'm with you. He's fully illogical.
Well, so here's the thing, like at this point...
Name
we're gonna
something
start-
else that's illogical that does exist. Anyone on the panel, go.
I think, I thought you just wanted something illogical. I was going to
The
say a funny
size of my
meme.
massive and I walk down the streets of New
exists.
York. Fuck!
And also logical. I was going to say funny memes, but they don't exist. So,
Not that funny.
or funny at all.
I think I could see any meme and not laugh at it. And not Minions excluded. Minion memes are going to get me. Fuck
The only,
yeah.
the only meme that I've ever laughed at is mom spaghetti memes. And it's just because the amount of times they say spaghetti on them. But
Oh, I love
even that, I'm just like, this is not right. I shouldn't be laughing at this. This isn't funny.
Is this just like the demographic that I'll just never be able to understand, or
Do you not know Mom Spaghetti?
Eminem
means?
is a
Okay,
like white rapper.
Oh, you don't say. No, I think.
Is
I
that
don't
the
know,
demographic
maybe-
you're talking about?
Well, I mean, no. I'm in the presence of two white lyrical miracles right now. Obviously, I'm familiar with that.
Well, then just lose yourself in the moment, Sam.
In the music and the moment, actually.
Have you guys heard the Weird Al version of that? It's pretty funny. It's a couch
No,
potato.
and I'm so glad that I haven't.
Oh, you should. It's okay. It's not his best work, but it's okay. Young Pepe, what you're saying is that God is impossible. Explain to me any like illogical thing that can exist other than God. Go.
No, well, like to push back on your point, you know, at that point we're kind of get into semantics. So when you say that God doesn't exist, well, God is spirit. So if you're someone that believes, you know, only material things can exist, then, you know, you would win on that point. But the thing is, we already know that there are metaphysical truths beyond the material.
Why do I think that young Pepe is anti-semantic? Right wing? Am I right?
Pepe, are you anti-semantic?
Emotionalism. I told you guys are going to appeal to emotionalism. because you
Wait,
can't
I'm sorry. Is the bit that every time I speak specifically, you say that there's an appeal to emotion? Is that
You're being so emotional, Sam.
Women's
I'm not
voices
that.
are emotional to young Pepe.
I don't even have gender.
You have a woman's voice, though. Is that okay to say?
I guess.
I mean, maybe the better way to phrase it would be how do you say when it's like
Like women presenting?
No, I mean, I'm not canceling you, Mezzo. I'm saying
No, I'm really trying to think of the better word.
No, I'll say this. Young Pepe, because he's a fucking bigot, thinks your voice sounds like a woman voice.
That's not even the problem. Oh my god.
Young
Please.
Pepe, I want you to tell us what appeal to emotionalism means.
Oh, basically that you guys are not sticking to logical arguments. When I bring something up, you guys are going to start doing ad
Now
hominem.
you care about logic? Since when do you care about logic?
Young Pepe, we can't stick to a logical argument. Your God that we're talking about isn't logical. How can we have a logical argument?
Well, we can have a logical argument, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to
You don't
make those
believe in logic.
confinements.
You don't think logic's real. You think the main thing, the thing there's more God than universe. The main thing that exists is illogical. You believe that there's more illogicalness than logicalness. Get the fuck out of here. You're not invited to the conversation anymore.
Maybe he's saying we can have an illogical conversation, not a logical conversation. Do you mean an illogical conversation, PP?
Why are you yelling?
I just don't know. He might mean.
Make sure everyone hears. Gotta really project.
No, but like I noticed that guy Joe he does the same thing. You know, he gets he gets emotional.
All right.
Oh, thank heavens.
I'm better than the last guest. Welcome in. What's your age and religion?
50, and I'm an atheist.
Okay.
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all?
Well, we're coming around, but you know, I think unfortunately, people that self-identify as atheism kind of feed into the conversation. Like,
Good. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
that.
We're trying to feed the conversation. Now, Sam, I laughed at something the other day, and I want you to let me know if I should be canceled about this one.
I'm scared. I love how I'm the authority on cancellation on here. It's all
out of the three of us.
You know what? Fair enough. Yeah, I am the one on multiple fronts.
There
you
was
ate that. Go on.
someone on. There was like a Black Creators Live, and he was an atheist. And someone came up and said that he was atheist, but he misunderstood him because he said I'm N with an, and then said atheist, and he put them too close together, and he was like, "You're a what?" and then realized, oh, I just coined the word, And it was really funny. It was actually really enjoyable because he was like, I guess I am too. And he was having a lot of fun with it. So am I okay?
I'm putting atheist in my bio. You're
okay.
good.
Okay. We're good. Okay. All right. Well,
Okay,
I
thanks.
am Beaker. We don't care. Let's see what B has to say.
Damn.
I bet you most atheists are kind of atheists.
Totally.
It's a cool word, but it's just like nobody knows what it means. So
Ichtheism? Wait, you mean no one knows what ichtheism means?
yeah, like most.
That's a great
people-
joke,
It's
Joel.
provocative.
Look, until all these ichtheists get together and figure out what their word
What the
means, I'm not going to accept it. That's really funny. That's really clever. I don't know if you did that on purpose.
Nope, that was accidental.
All right,
But
I'm
that was
taking
a
that
good
one.
catch. Yeah,
I'm putting
that's
it in
yours.
Someone said I'm a pig theist. Hey, we have a bunch of pigs up here. That's why we're wondering, how can a good God be so bad? B?
Hi. Okay. First, I just want to say I promise you I am an adult. I have a condition that makes my
Cam
voice
up.
super high. Sorry?
Cam up.
Oh, right now?
Yeah, just put your camera on.
Oh, okay. Does it have to be my face?
What the hell else would you show?
Have an ID of some kind?
Yeah, I have an idea if that's fine.
Like show us that you have like a beard or something.
Or that.
Or maybe your rings, the tree rings.
I bet if you show your hands, we'll be able
If you
to
if you
determine
slice your arm off, we can
Yeah.
look at how long.
You know what?
Count the
That sounds
rings
like
and
a
the
great
femur bone.
idea. Also, Sam, I just want to say I love your debates. I tune into them literally every other stream I'm there.
All right, this kid's of age.
Thank you so much.
This kid's of age. If they're a fan of Sam, this kid's of age.
Yes, I love
Do
Sam.
you have
Yeah.
pictures of yourself in your profile or something?
I don't, but I'm a college student.
Where do you go to school?
I actually go to Duke University here in North Carolina.
Oh, no,
Dick?
make that up. Dookie.
Yes, I go to Duke University.
All right, what dorm are you in?
Okay.
I'm off campus.
Okay, that checks out. All right, so are you a Christian?
Yes, I am a Christian. And my thing is I'm a progressive Christian.
Oh, that's the worst.
Oh,
You're doing the most mental gymnastics. I apologize. I'm like sorry for you. Your brain
I
must be
actually-
exhausted.
I think I'm doing the most sensical. I have the most. It makes the most sense to me. I don't see how you can be MAGA or conservative and be
Yeah.
prioritize the values of the Bible and stuff.
Well, that is closer to it. Like more of the Bible sounds like MAGA than it sounds like what you're about to say.
That's really interesting. And I'm all for any takes on that.
Are you a Bible reader?
I am. I do read the Bible.
All right, let's cut to the chase.
Okay.
Let's get right to it. And I was gonna save this till later, but guys, let's just do it.
It's that time again to read our favorite story.
I couldn't find my pedal. Sorry, that was really shitty.
Is
But
this
once-
gonna be the one about the baby kebabs?
That's brutal. B, there's a real story in the Bible where God tells people to kill other people. And keep in mind, this is the same God that came and died for your sins. Okay? And
Okay.
when he came to earth, remember what Jesus said. Remember his claim. He said, the Father and I are one.
Yes.
What does that mean? Who is he? Is he talking about Zeus or Yahweh
I honestly
or someone else?
believe it you want. Personally, me.
He was talking about you.
Obviously, dude. I wish. No, talking about the Trinity and stuff. God the Father, God the Son.
Yeah,
Doesn't make sense, huh?
he is talking about the Trinity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Father is Yahweh. That's his name.
Yeah, some people refer to him that way. I personally don't.
Jesus did. That's who Jesus was talking about. When he said the Father, he meant the God from the Old Testament, the one that everyone here has been reading about. Matthew, Mark, Luke, you guys know the book that we have. It's smaller than the one they're going to have in the future, but not by a bunch. It's the Old Testament, the scriptures that he referred to, the Mosaic laws. He mentions those a lot. They're reading Exodus. They're reading Daniel. They're reading Isaiah. They're reading Samuel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in Samuel, there's a story where God said to kill some people. And it's a pretty dark story.
It involves this tribe called the Amalekabobs.
Now, the Amalekabobs were not the best people. They had some problems, but nobody's perfect, right? So here's what he said to do. Are you familiar with this story?
Very vaguely.
Oh,
it's not something that I studied hard into, but I have.
No, I'll read it to you because it's a huge problem for your religion. It's like maybe the biggest problem for your religion, other than it just being so wildly unconvincing. But Samuel said to Saul, so Saul has just been put in charge of the Israelite people. He said, "The Lord sent me to anoint you king over his people Israel. Now listen to the words of the Lord. Thus says the Lord of hosts." That's God, Jesus, all that guy. "I will punish the Amalekites for what they did in opposing the Israelites when they came up out of Egypt. Now go and attack Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have. Do not spare them." Now, does that sound a little bit alarming to you at all?
Yeah, it does actually.
Okay, well, I haven't even gotten to the bad part yet.
There's a lot of stuff that alarms me in the Bible.
"Do not spare them, but kill both man and woman, child and infant, ox and sheep, camel and donkey." And they do. They go do it. They follow God's command and they kill everybody. They leave the king. The one king they leave alive from the city. And then they bring him home and God is pissed. He's like, "I said fucking everybody." And they're like, "We killed all the infants. The toddlers are gone. We did it." And like, get that king. And they have to chop him to pieces right there. Okay, so that's the story. That's the God that you worship. So I guess the question would be, how can a good God be so bad?
Sorry, I just sent something in the chat because my screen wouldn't go away. You know what? I think a lot of the stuff in the Bible, for myself, I don't understand a lot of it. And I don't want to say that I do understand all of it, and I don't want to defend a position that I would have some, God has a plan for everything, which I believe, but I don't think that's a solid argument. Personally,
I agree.
That's something.
Not a solid argument at all.
Awesome. There we go. We're on the same page on that. Yeah, I don't agree with that, and I definitely see how people would see that as something that's super, such a fragile stance to take. And honestly, I think it is too. And I think a lot of my opinions mostly come from a really, really weird belief in my faith. And it is really weird. And it is kind of almost foolish to say all this stuff. But because I'm not...
I agree with that too. So far, I'm on board with all this.
Yay, awesome. And I'm actually studying in science. I'm in STEM. I'm studying chemical engineering, and so a lot of people around me do not believe in faith whatsoever. But my faith is exactly what it is. It's just faith. And obviously you can
I get that, but this is a huge problem. The faith that you have is in the God from this Bible who commanded infant slaughter. You have to solve this problem. If you don't have a good answer for this particular problem, the story falls apart completely. There's a lot of other, you see all the tabs I have in my Bible here?
Oh, I love that.
There's a lot. These are all terrible things that completely ruin the story completely. But this one's a really bad one. And until you have a solution...
Mine doesn't look like that, so you outdid me.
It's just there's lots of bad stuff. Until you find an answer to this specific question and all these, I think you should withhold belief. I think it's dangerous to believe in this. If you go to my page, you'll see a pinned thing where I have a montage of Christians saying, as a Christian, I believe that sometimes the best thing to do is chop up toddlers with a sword. They really said that. They agreed to saying that. That's where it leads. That's dangerous.
Wait, I'm confused, beloved, because if you watch my lives, and my lives are, whenever I'm talking about God specifically, they're always about God's morality. I focus on the problem of evil solely. So that means that you've heard if you actively listen, unless you like have it in the background while you're taking a shit or something, that you
know it.
like heard.
Kidding.
That's valid. That you've heard some really bad verses before.
Yeah.
And you might have even heard me say this one. I haven't said this one in a while, but I just, okay, you have faith, understood. You acknowledge that isn't a logical thing to do. Okay. But if the thing that you have faith in is someone who would do these atrocities, then what's the point?
That's a really good question. And I think to answer that, I probably sound crazy saying this, but I really think that one of the things I really deeply believe in, and I know there's so many good arguments against this. So, but just hear me out. I believe that love covers a lot of sin. That's like one of my verses in the Bible that I really stand strong for.
What verse? I don't know this verse.
You know what? I don't have it off the top of my head. I probably should. I'm probably not sounding like a good Christian right now.
Love covers a multitude of...
Yes.
But apply it to the Amalekabobs. So, like, the sin there is that God commanded people to go kill children. What love is, like, overcoming this?
So, in the Bible, there's things that were planned out to happen. And so, this is all in my perspective. These things were going to happen because of almost like the way, I'm trying not to use analogies that make it,
Just speak. You know what, B? Just speak plainly.
Okay.
Guys, I'm going to just grab some water real quick. I'll be listening, but I'll be right back.
Yeah, go ahead. Stay hydrated. But I think a lot of the things that I think it's mostly the way that God sent those people. In my belief, that was going to happen either way. And that's not a good thing, but it's almost like the fate of what was the fate of the Christian belief, you know?
Well, like, is it God's plan? Like, because God is in charge in your view, right? Like, God's all powerful. He's all knowing. If this is something that was inevitable, it would have been that he put those things together to happen that way. That doesn't make it better. That, I would say, makes it worse, probably.
So yeah, I think for that, I hear a lot of people say that, but so what's talked about a lot in the Bible, and just I don't really like going to church. I'll go ahead and say that. I think church is kind of full of nonsense a lot of the time.
Well, that's because they're basing it on the Bible, but go on.
I think they cherry pick a lot of the Bible, and they like to use the Bible in order to get people to agree with them.
Yeah, for sure. But they probably, anyway, we won't worry about that. So yeah, go on.
Sorry, I'm kind of rambling. But yeah, I think there's these things that are, they're God's plan, but God does not, he's not playing like The Sims 4, and he's not just choosing what everyone does. Like he's making this stuff happen, but it's not as if he's directly enforcing this. It's kind of like he lets things kind of flow with the path that we choose to take, because I don't think God is like a dictator. I don't think he's like, we're like puppets on strings otherwise.
Well, what he did, which is like something that dictators have done, is ordered a bunch of people to be killed, and some of them being women and children. That is something I think dictators have done.
And then got mad when they didn't do all of it. I said, everybody, follow my commands. Here are the rules.
So B, you just have to look like try to stay on point a little bit. Like, try to like not get too ethereal with it. Like, God, who created the heavens and the earth, who is also Jesus, told his favorite people, because he was a tribal war god at the time, just like, how right-wingers are very, like, kind of tribal, and, MAGA. And he said, why don't you go and kill a bunch of babies and infants? And we're asking you to kind of deal with that. And I know it's hard, but like, I don't see a solve for it. I don't think love is the solve. Do you have any other ideas how it might like be okay that he did that?
So when we talk about if things are okay, this is going to be a very like very big stretch, like a very bold thing to say. But I'm really bad at analogies, and you said speak freely. So I'm sorry if this comes off as very but in the same way, if there's people who are attacking an innocent country, like I don't want to bring this whole debate up, but I'm not pro-Israel, even though a lot of Christians say that you have to be pro-Israel because Israel.
Let me help you out here, just so that you don't go crazy with anything. We're talking about the children and infants.
Yes.
So it's like the like almost what's happening with the like people, like the nation themselves. It's almost immaterial. We're talking about like God saying, fully grown adults, take your swords and go stab them into little babies. So like we have to make sense of that.
And toddlers and tweens and everyone, yeah.
Yeah, so I think there's nothing, so in my eyes, there's nothing that, parent loves more than their child, or at least I think that's how it should be. But that is one of the greatest pains. The same way, he killed the firstborns or ordered the firstborns to be killed,
He did that one.
Oh yeah, for sure. Or like he sent the angels or the angel of death, all that.
That's him.
He wandered around with the angel, like they were together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
when he does that, that's like God doing it.
Yeah, sure, interchangeable. I'm fine with either one.
How are you fine with it? Like seriously, like, how are you fine praying and being like submissive to the God who did this stuff?
I just mean vocabulary wise.
But this is what the story is. How are you fine with this? How are you not like, I hate that this happened?
I do.
These are
hate
real
that
people.
happened, but I don't. I think it was a very bad situation, but.
Why don't you do this? Just personalize this for a second. So, like, have you ever like held a child, like an infant or like a small child?
Yeah.
Like a delicate, like these babies are so delicate, right? Little arms, these little torsos, they're just so small.
Yeah, I raised a few kids for like 5 years.
Amazing. So can you just like try to imagine a scenario where you would take a cold hard blade and plunge it into that child's chest? Just like close your eyes and just like try really, really hard to think of any scenario where you think that might be justified.
That becomes the right thing to do.
Yeah, I think maybe a justified situation. No, I was going to make a joke about abortion, but I'm not going to. That's like off topic. I'm sorry. But no, I don't think that's right. But I do think that if I was there, I would be one of those people that did not follow what God said, and that's
right.
a flaw that I have.
No, that's not. That's the best thing about you.
That's not a flaw.
I'm so flawed that I wouldn't murder a baby. That's a good quality in you. Honestly, that's your best quality.
You know what? Thank you.
You're better than God in that way. The God that you pray to sucks dog shit out of a dog's ass compared to you. You're so much better than they are. This isn't the only time they did this. Let that God go. They're not helping you at all.
I mean, I
missed a little. I said I was going to listen, but I had to unplug to get ice. Did we get into that, like, the only reason you still believe this is you're scared of hell kind of thing? Or what's holding you back here? Mute. You're on mute, B.
I know. I'm so sorry. I just got a text from my grandmother who's in the hospital. Thank you so much for having me. I have to go. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut it short.
It's okay. Go do what you gotta do and come back another time. Yep.
Oh my
Drop
gosh.
her down. Drop her down. There are more important things right now to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And it might make sense as to like what she's hanging on to, right? There's a sense of hope needed of whatever might be happening there, right? Yeah. I was on the phone with my mom today, and like while I was on the phone, she was like, "Oh God, oh no, oh God, are you okay?" And was like yelling out at my dad, and he had like tripped, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I could hear the fear in her voice, and he was like, "I tripped on the bed," and he was fine, but it was just like for a moment she was like really terrified, and I was like, "Holy shit!" The first hip broke.
We can't fall. We can't fall anymore.
They're retired. They can't fall anymore. It's a real thing. Yeah. They retired this year. Congratulations to them.
Nice.
Actually, my dad's like still there for a month. This doesn't matter. Anyways, we all hope that your grandma's okay. And if you're still hearing this, if you're still like hearing this in the live, come back some other time and talk to us. I'd love to talk to you more. And I forgot her name. What was it? B, come back some other time.
Why do I feel like I talked to B before? I really feel like I've had a conversation with
It sounds like you did. She was like kind of deconstructed a little bit. Sounds like you did some work there.
I think I did some work there. And also it just like, I remember the voice, and I have a condition that makes my voice higher. And like, there were just certain things that like I feel like I've spoken.
You can tell when someone like, they didn't quite all the way deconstruct. It's like, that's probably a Joel one. Like he didn't quite like finish the.
I don't know if
It's
that's
like
the case.
lackluster, like half-assed.
Oh, you're talking about Mac Luster. Yeah, maybe I was in a
No,
live
like you've
where
left
talked to
them like
Mac.
confused a bit, and they're like, they don't know what to do with their life a little bit. So
I'm not confident that sounds like something, because usually when I do a conversation, because I take a little bit more time, I'm a little bit more thorough, and I do a few less jokes, so I really connect with people.
our next guest is Milanena, I think.
They're not loading yet,
Here.
so-
They're loading in. Hi, welcome in. What's your age and religion?
Oh,
Hi,
thank goodness.
my name is
Shut up.
Melena, and I am I'm 24, and I'm an atheist.
I love the name Milena. That's a cool name. But we're
Thank you.
we're asking for believers to request up. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, we this seat is kind of just for people who are like Christians, or if you're a W Mezzo Plus subscriber. Or let me click in here and see. Maybe they are. Elena, you don't even follow me, so you're not
No,
a
I
W
just-
Mezzo Plus. Yeah. So
Elaine,
Yeah.
are you interested in becoming a Christian right now? Is that what you thought this was, or?
No, I have no interest in becoming a Christian whatsoever.
Okay.
well, congratulations on having the correct worldview. I'm gonna drop you down. Go ahead and give all three of us a follow. We're gonna be your three favorite people to listen to for the next probably 8.5 months before you're tired of us. Like that's probably how long it'll last, right?
No, not for me.
No,
See, I'm-
actually, I
because you
think
talk
it'll
so
be
long.
infinity.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Lucky 5. Look at this. LC5. How old are you?
19.
Hajua?
19.
There's no way we can do this one.
I think he said 18 and then 19. Did
No,
you
I said,
say?
19, I said 19 twice, bro.
Okay.
Okay.
And
But
what's your
what-
deal?
I'm a Christian.
Okay.
Incredible
He's a
energy.
Christian.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to have to find a way to liven this one up. Because I want to have the conversation, but I also want to like, there's an audience here. People are having fun and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
can,
no,
maybe we
yeah,
can
yeah,
find a way to,
Well, maybe we can try this.
Why
LC,
God
have,
doing
have
so
you
much
ever?
bad shit for
Sorry,
real?
what's that, Sam?
What's up? What'd you say?
I was just wondering why your God keep doing so much bad shit for real. What's going on?
no,
with
that's
that?
going to make, you can't talk like him. It's going to sound, I'm thinking more like, LC5, welcome in. How can a good God be so bad? Take it away.
Okay. I don't think he's bad. I don't want to hear like your argument for why he's bad. Why is like Why is he bad to you?
Sure. Well, this is a great depiction right here. You see this picture where Jesus is yelling at these pig demons. Do you remember that story from the Bible?
Yeah, of course, man.
Yeah, so I think that's fucking terrible. Do you think that's fine to do?
Where he's yelling at the pig demons?
No, he had those pigs get possessed by demons. He possessed those pigs with demons and then drowned them. And the demons are fine. The pigs all die. What's the demons? Sam, demons don't drown. He puts them in pigs.
Emphasis on that particular point. Just
The pigs
so you
are
know,
drowned.
the pigs are dead,
And
but
then the demons are just like,
chilling.
they're just wet. They're just wet, surrounded by dead pigs. They just leave the body of the pig.
Demons are hydrophobic. That's everybody knows.
Well, hold on.
Right, of course.
Well, hold on. He came down to save the pigs, though. You know?
By putting demons in them and drowning them? That's what saved
the
them?
demons in them.
Who put the demons in the pigs?
They got possessed. It wasn't him.
The demons got possessed?
No, the pigs got possessed by the demons.
What do you mean he came down to save the pig?
Nope.
Sorry, what do you mean he came down to save those goddamn pigs, LC?
Did he come to bring salvation for the pigs?
Of course. I think that's what he did.
Where are you getting that from? That he was that
the demons possessed the pigs, and he tried to save them.
Can pigs believe in Jesus?
No, but
I don't think you know this story.
No, I do.
What verse is it?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. It got to be a troll, right?
Yeah, that was a troll. He came down to save the pigs.
I think you might have just been a boy. Brotherhood of the Yawn.
I don't know if he was a boy. I think he was a troll. Like he came down to save the pigs, Mezzo.
He was thinking that he didn't mean like salvation. He meant
I think
he saw the picture and he thought, oh, demons were going to possess these pigs, so Jesus helped them not get possessed. He doesn't know the actual story.
Oh.
And I think once we called him out, he realized like, oh, I'm a shitty Christian, and then he ran. But I think it's not Brotherhood of the Young, guys. It's Brotherhood of the Yawn. There's a group of people that just like intentionally, they're like, guys, we need to ruin. Actually, in their secret meetings, they're probably like, guys, we need to ruin these atheist lives. What are we going to do? Let's go over there and pretend to be super fucking boring and waste everyone's time. And so everyone falls asleep and their numbers go down. That'll be great. And then they come here and they go, I'm not telling. Jesus Christ, saw your pigs. And then everyone's numbers go.
Worst fucking psyop I've ever heard of in my
Listen, bro. Jesus is such a piece of shit, bro. So I love Jesus. He's great.
So just keep that in mind to your fellow content creators. If you sense a Brotherhood of Yawn coming up, the one best defense, it's a shredder.
talent.
You don't need a talent. You just need a keyboard.
JC is saucier than the last one. Oh, JJ?
Yeah. JJ Social.
JJ, welcome in. What's your age and religion?
18, and I'm Catholic.
Okay. Are you a sleeper as well, or are you feeling good?
What you mean by sleeper?
Like, are you in the Brotherhood of Yawn?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, that's good. Why do you think a good God is so bad?
Well, I see God gave us the greatest gift. It's free will.
Free will.
So
I beat you to it.
Almost.
He also allowed us to make our own destiny. So it's not that he allows good or evil. He allows us to do with what we want to do.
Okay. And is that just for humans?
Anything.
Demons have free will?
I believe so.
What's going on in the story where he had these demons get kicked out of these pigs? Their will was to stay in these guys. And he said, no, demons, you don't get the will for that. You have to follow my will, get out of them, and go drown these pigs.
I do not know the story very well.
Let's find it, because the last guy didn't know it either. But he was, I think, a dipshit. So you seem cooler. Let's look it up. I used to have it.
Well, it's not just that. He was probably just trying to be very defensive about it without trying to actually listen and learn.
No, he was an idiot. Okay, let's do it out of. There's one in Matthew, one in Mark, one in
Charitable
Luke.
interpretation, though, JJ. We appreciate it.
What do we like best, Matthew, Mark, or Luke?
Matthew.
I'm with you. I agree. Let's just start at the beginning one. So we're going to go to chapter 8 in Matthew. And for those of you who are following along at home, that's going to be page 825. And verse 20. Oh, sorry. 826. Verse 28. When he, Jeshushuash, came to the other side, to the region of the Gardenens, 2 men possessed by demons came out of the tombs and met him. They were so fierce that no one could pass that way. So you have 2 like crazy guys just going like this kind of stuff.
All right, don't make it scary.
Was that too scary?
That was really scary. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Joel.
I was like, great.
I thought it was incredibly erotic.
Okay, different take. Oh, I see. Because you thought between the legs thing. Yeah.
Right, of course. Right, exactly.
What if I make it like
motorboating pussy?
Right. Wait. We have to address this. So, okay. So, when you say motorboat the pussy.
Oh, hold on. That's not in the verse here. Let's see here.
Wait, I'm so sorry.
What have you done with us, Son of God? So they shout to Jesus. What have you to do with us, Son of God? Have you come here to torment us before the time? What they're saying is like they know Jesus is supposed to come back and it's not time. So why are you here? What are you going to do with us? Now, a large herd of swine, that's pigs, remember from the don't throw pearls at them, had been feeding a distance from them. The demons begged him, if you cast us out, send us into the herd of swine. And he said to them, go. So they came out and entered the swine. Suddenly, the whole herd stampeded down the steep bank into the sea and drowned in the water. I was wrong. They did want to be put in the swine. Not really. They wanted to stay in the guys, but they know that Jesus is going to cast them out. So he says, please put us in the swine. So he does. Now, did the 2 human guys get their free will infringed on?
By the demons possessing them?
By God. The 2 guys didn't say, please get these demons out of me, but Jesus did it anyway.
Well, I mean, I can see where you come from on both sides of that, but it wasn't really their will to begin with. It was the demon's will. I mean, if someone does a hypnosis on you and you do something against something that you wouldn't normally do, was that still your will that did it?
That's a great point. That's a good point. So if like we have like one person is about to just like steal from another person, or murder another person, God should stop them because the victim's free will is going to be infringed on by the other person. And God likes free will. So he says, don't take their free will. They want to keep their stuff and their life.
Now see, I understand where you're coming from, but also
that's where you're coming from. I was
all
just saying
free will. Yeah, because I mean, the person that's going to take your stuff, it's their free will to do so. But from Catholics, like my religion, this is nothing more but a plane of existence that once you die, you will, if you lived a life, you will be welcomed into heaven if you lived a good life. So it doesn't really matter what happens here on this earth, whether you're killed or whatever, as long as you lived a good, healthy life where you were good to people, that's all that really matters at the end.
That's neat, but that doesn't really, you're not talking about the free will infringement stuff. If it doesn't really matter, and it's not that big of a deal, then he should just like infringe on murderers' free will. It doesn't really matter anyways, just don't do it, and then everyone can go to heaven. You just block that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he should, but he's not. So to me, that's bad, because if you like are watching people get murdered, you're like kind of like involved in it. You should probably go, hey, don't do that.
Well, I also don't think God is good either. I don't think God is good or bad. I believe that he is omnipotent and he allows whatever happens to happen. For me, I think that if you were this existence that has been going on from the beginning of it, you get bored. So you allow things to have free will to where you can see the excitement. I don't think he knows what's going to happen, because if he did know what was going to happen, that would be a destiny. You would have a path that you would have to follow to reach your destiny that he has put on you. So that is not free will.
Do you think the Lord is like good to all?
No, absolutely not. The
I wanna
ones that
just
ask
read you-
for strength are given trials.
Do you think he has compassion over everything that he made?
No.
Okay, I want to read you one Bible verse then. Psalm 145, verse 9. And just tell me what you think about this. It says, "The Lord is good to all, and his compassion is over all that he has made." So you disagree with David on this one?
I would absolutely disagree with David.
You think you know better
You gotta
than
remember the Bible
guy
was
that
written by
God
men.
chose to be king of his chosen people? You think you know better?
Yes, and if
He
that
should
is
have
how
made you
David-
king.
No, absolutely not. I am evil as well. I can never be a king.
JJ, real quick, is
Yes, sir.
is your opinion? Do you share your opinion with the Catholic Church, or is this like totally ad hoc, your own sort of take on the thing?
I share most of my views with the Catholic Church. There's some things that I disagree with.
Yeah, like the Catholic Church must think that God is all good.
He did ask Ishmael, or I think it was Ishmael, to kill his own son to prove his loyalty, and I don't think
It was
being good.
yeah, Abraham. But that's your
Abraham,
opinion.
thank
But I think this is what I'm trying to get at is like, if this is your own like sort of like invention, and it's not affirmed by the Catholic Church nor the book of the character of the God, then there's not a lot of reason for you to still be believing this God.
Yeah, I'm looking it up on like Catholicism.org. Here's an article called "God is Good." Including man, good is mentioned 7 times. Simply good. Every creature is good.
Yeah, you might be deconstructing,
yeah.
JJ.
Yeah,
I may be.
you're out of Catholicism. You're into JJism, which is better and is a good move. And I'm on board with this.
I think that is part of your free will, is to do that, because, like I said, all the names in the book, all the books in the Bible, they were all written by men. They had their own free will, and they could all interpret things a certain way. Somebody that I know is going to interpret me a completely different way from another person that I know. So,
All right. So at that point, like, why do you believe that a God exists and that it is this particular God when the book obviously can't be trusted, the church can't be trusted, and so you're just surmising things? Like, what is the?
Just make it up.
Like,
Make up a better God at this point.
You are doing that, but like, why are we even believing in the God? Like, I don't understand why you're still like. Why that's happening?
It's usually fear.
Yeah, pretty much. I've also always just had faith in something bigger than me, myself.
Okay. Well, I want to show you, because you've been talking about free will a lot.
He's
It's
been
okay, I'll
talking
make a lot
about
of
free
people
will or
nervous.
what?
I want to tell you about free will a little bit, because I do a drawing sometimes, and I'm going to show it to you. This is Mezzo's free will drawing. And,
Yeah, but God is not omniscient in his view.
Oh, you don't think God knows everything? Does God know the future?
No. He can't know the future. If he knew the future, that's not considered free will anymore.
Oh, okay,
He's
sorry.
onto that.
Yeah.
Like this guy's
Okay,
this
JJ,
guy's
you've
deconstructed.
retconned basically everything. This isn't God. Come on.
So at a certain point, like, do you think God sent Jesus down to like die for our sins?
Yes, I do.
Why do you think
believe
that's
that.
true, but not the other stuff?
It's not that I don't believe it's true. It's just my interpretation of what I believe should be, or what I believe. Like I said, it's just different interpretations. That's what the whole
JJ, you
Bible
know what?
is.
This
just
is what it
different
is.
Interpretations.
It's not that. This is what it is. It's that you see the flaws. You see the flaws in the story. You see the flaws in the church. You see the flaws in the book. And so
Yes,
you go, well,
humans are flawed.
No, the cult is flawed. So you're looking at it, you're going, that this doesn't make sense. Humans are flawed, but the cult is flawed. So you're like, oh, this doesn't make sense. So it would have to be that. Oh, it would have to be this. It would have to be. And so what you're doing is you're cobbling together your own house of cards based on the cult. What you should be doing is going, oh, maybe the cult is wrong. And so I'll just walk away from it. Then I'm going to look for evidence of any other sort of God. I don't have to commit to the cult.
Well, yeah, you're right. I don't practice my religion in church anymore because of how they've allowed the PDF files to just be moved around to different states where they can continue their debauchery.
Good call.
Yeah, so I have left the church, but I still somewhat, I guess, follow the Catholic views, I guess is the best way I could say it then.
No, you don't. I would really stop calling yourself that. Like, just, it's because it's confusing. Like, really, you want to kind of start saying, when people say, what's your age in religion? Say your age, and then say like you're kind of a Sadakmak, maybe. Like, you're a non-denominational would probably be.
Gotcha.
Your own thing, because you're not Catholic. You're not doing Catholicism anymore. If you're saying God doesn't know everything and he's not all good, you're out. Sorry, but that's full-blown blasphemy according to them. There's verses that say God knows everything. There's verses that says he's good to everyone. There's New Testament verses that say he knows everything in John, right? So like,
There's also
this
a
is
verse where he himself says that he creates evil. So like,
yeah. I mean, there's contradictions in the Bible. That's true. But the Catholic view is to believe the ones they like, and he's not doing that. So Catholic isn't the right view for you. What I'm wondering though is like, why do you believe any part of the Bible?
Oh, I couldn't tell you that because, like I said, it's just faith. The faith, you don't have anything that you can put a monetary value or a number to. It's just belief. I mean,
yeah, but I have faith that all the stuff in the Bible is incorrect. So now we're at an impasse here. You have faith that some of it's true. I have faith it's fake. How do we find out what's real?
You can't.
I think we can.
You can't. No, you can't, because that's what faith is. No, that's what faith is.
Well, no, JJ's right. You can't find out what's true using faith.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
It's literally impossible. Faith is the worst way to come to truth.
What I'm saying is that our faiths have negated each other. They're canceling each other out. Now what do? How do we now find out what's true? You have faith and I have faith, and they're opposing each other. So we have to find some other means to figure out what's true, right? So what else can we use?
That's only if you can come to a concrete answer. But I don't think you ever can when it comes to religion.
Well, we can't when it comes to faith.
Yeah, like you did, right? You were like, it doesn't make sense. This wasn't just a faith. Like, you weren't like, I have faith God doesn't know the future. You were like, this doesn't make sense. You used reasoning. You used some logic. It doesn't make sense that there can be free will and an all-knowing God. Why do you think there's free will? You got rid of all-knowingness. Why didn't you get rid of free will?
Oh, well, I guess that's another view that I have. With me not saying God has given us a destiny or a path to follow because he wants to see the stories. Like when from my view, when you die and you visit the gates of heaven, you are going to tell your story or go through your book of life. The only reason you would have to go through your book of life is for them to see if you were a good person. So
do you think he intervenes at all?
I don't believe so, to be honest. I don't think he does at all.
I think that cuts out a lot of the Bible, man. You're down to like one book, maybe. Maybe not even. The whole story is God intervening.
It's going to be Ecclesiastes.
Awesome, bro.
I think,
Holy shit.
Well, hold on. Ecclesiastes.
JJ's an ecclesiastical Christian.
I bet I can find a verse where God intervenes in Ecclesiastes.
I don't know. It's not. God isn't really that present in Ecclesiastes.
What page is that? Is that before Isaiah? It's like right before Isaiah.
I think it's not that far away from Proverbs.
Literally right before Isaiah and right after Proverbs, where genius is. I said to myself, God will judge the righteous and the wicked, for he has appointed a time for every matter and for every work. Oh, so this is saying God knows the future. So he's not going to follow that one.
He's not an ecclesiastical Christian.
Yep. Sorry. I found it real quick. Yeah,
It's
every
all
single
too
Bible
fast.
chapter has God intervening in human affairs. So dump the book, right? JJ, you're out of you're out of Catholicism, you're out of the Bible. Here's a thing that we talk about sometimes. Have you ever read The Cat in the Hat?
Dr. Seuss.
Yeah. It's okay. It's honestly, this might be like not a cheered take.
I mean,
Not Dr. Seuss's best work.
So you're
You're what? You think the cat was a Nazi?
No. Dr. Seuss was a Nazi.
Are you sure?
Seuss was
I'm
Jewish.
positive.
You might be thinking of Dr. Hitler. He wrote different kids' books. Fuck, God, every now and then I really wish I could keep a straight face, and sometimes I just can't. Was
Dr. Seuss, I think, was a Jewish.
Walt Disney.
Yeah, Walt Disney, Sam.
No.
Yes,
he was a sympathizer.
Well, I'm not saying that Walt Disney wasn't bad. Walt Disney was a lot of bad things. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, no, it says he was not. He did create some controversial anti-Japanese cartoons during World War II.
Are you looking at the AI overview?
Yeah, is that all right? I can go to the Times of Israel.
Okay. I think the AI overview is also, we're getting off topic, but I use
this a lot, so I don't want to I don't want to like switch to a better book if not, because it can be any book. Okay.
I'll grab my MacBook.
Yeah, by the way, I have no
liberal.
problem with Dr. Seuss being horrible, but I just thought he was Jewish, and it would be surprise me that he was a Nazi.
I haven't had that lore, but if he is Jewish, that would make being a Nazi a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the opposite.
Really?
Now, he did like make some cartoons that were not good. He was racist.
Oh, cute.
Some made for various feature racist depictions of East Asians, Arabs, and Muslims, Black people, Mexicans, and Native Americans, in addition to misogynist themes.
But he wasn't a Nazi.
But not a Nazi.
Oh, great.
All the others.
The N-word. Wait, here it is. Okay. The cartoons range from the topics of opposition to the nationalist America First policy, which I also oppose, support for the U.S. involvement in World War II, and criticizing both Nazi Germany and Japan, in particular the attack on Pearl Harbor. So yeah, he was anti-Nazi. Oh no, here's the thing about the Cat in the Hat. Oh God, what is it going to say? Oh God, what is it going to say? It was written, the Cat in the Hat was written as a challenge.
A celebration of Hitler.
This is a milk fact. It was written as a challenge in 1954 in response to an article in Life magazine that claimed that widespread illiteracy was caused by children being bored with books. The book had an underlying theme that endorsed rebellion in children. Okay, so this was him going like, instead of doing this political stuff, I'm going to like help kids learn how to read. The original was called The Cat in the Hat Comes Back, in which the cat may represent colonial or absolute dictatorial power. Okay, so this is a little bit weird, but
just read a kid's book, Seuss.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Okay, so not an ideal citizen by any means. Also not a Nazi sympathizer.
Fantastic.
Yeah, apparently Yertle the Turtle has many connections about the rise and fall of Hitler. And it's a book about how all creatures should be free. So, so yeah, he was actually quite the opposite in that, but I did learn that he was a dog shit person in other ways. Bummer. Okay.
Unfortunate.
I am going to have to go. I'm sorry, my daughter's woken up.
JJ.
Can I tell you this thing really fast? I can do it really quick.
Yes, sir. I'll put you on mute, but
just listen to this.
Listen.
So the children's
How old
book.
were you when you had your daughter? You're 18?
At 18. Well, I turned 18 last year. We had some, I wasn't very smart. So
sex. You had some sex.
You came inside someone.
Jesus.
So the children's book Cat in the Hat, which is not written by a Nazi sympathizer, is a fiction book. And you're reading the book and you're like, this is fun. There's zero Nazis. There's a cat. There's thing 1 and thing 2. And
there might be some racism.
There's for sure some racism. Yeah, thing 1 and thing 2 are like Those are racist for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so he puts them back in cages, and then you read the book, and then you go, wait a minute. On the back of this book, the Dewey Decimal System on it here mentions that this is from the fiction section. This isn't true at all. And so then you go take the book back to the library and you put it in the fiction section. But then what you do is you go home and you go, well, that was all fiction, but I still think the cat's real. What? Why would we do that? It's a fiction book. Once you realize the book is fiction, this one's the Bible now, the main character of the book is God. He's not real. You can just realize that's all fiction, and then you can move on and live a beautiful daughter. You got a long life ahead of you, man. Run away from the rough stuff.
Please.
And stop lying about being 18.
It's a weird that he had an older voice.
Yeah, if you look at his pictures, it's like, is that an 18-year-old?
I mean,
life just might not have treated him very well.
He was like, he sounded 18 in this, like, I'm kind of walking away from religion and figuring out how to do it on my own. That's like a totally 18-year-old thing, like common thing. I mean, not for Joel, obviously, like you were like making Christmas songs.
26, yeah.
You know that I heard some of your Christmas songs?
Oh, yeah?
When you're like, Jesus, Jesus, Christmas.
Classic.
It's not that far from that.
Happy birthday, Jesus, classic. Oh, you said classic.
I did a Happy Birthday, Jesus at stand-up once. I might have shown you that video. And the whole bit was me and my musical partner were confused about if it was supposed to be Jesus or Santa. It's an overdone thing now, but it was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, we kept saying, Happy Birthday, Santa. And it was like, hey, Jesus, hurry down the chimney. And we just kept like kind of getting it mixed up. And then when we realized that, like, no, I think it's supposed to be like we kept stopping the song and trying to figure it out. And it was like, no, that's the 12 disciples. No, it was the 12 reindeer gathered together at the Christmas supper instead of the Lord's Supper. It was a really fun back and forth. You would have loved it.
I remember you told me about that.
I have a video somewhere. Carslyle's, welcome in. What's your age and religion?
Hey, I'm 35 and my religion is Episcopalian.
Okay.
So, Christian. And it's Carlisle.
What's Episcopalian? Sorry. Is that like Italian for fish?
Episcopalian's like Catholic light, I guess.
Oh, that last guy was like probably dancing in that area.
It's kind of like saying they like all the pomp and circumstance, but they're still
they're
not affiliated with the Catholic. No, they're what's it called? Yeah, they've removed themselves from the Catholic Church, I believe.
I'm loving the Ordinary Heathens Discord chat right now. It says I'm 18 and it has, God, what's this guy's name? Sam, I want to say Sam Watterson, but that's the guy from Law and Order. What's this guy's name again? With the mustache? I'll post it. All right, so what do you think? Is God good or bad?
So are you guys referencing like Old Testament stuff or just everyday bad things that happen?
What would you rather get into? I mean, both are true, right?
I mean,
the Old Testament both, really happened, right?
It's kind of one of those. The way I view it is they left it in there for some reason. They attached it to
because
the rest of the gospel.
Because it was true history, maybe.
Well, it's the Christian history, is the Abrahamic religion history that they brought into it. So it's very important where a lot of it came from and to understand.
So like when you read
Trinity.
Like when you read a verse in the Old Testament and it's like, if it said like, this isn't, I don't have my Bible open, but if it said something like, hey, I'm God, I want you to rip apart your parents. Just go grab your parents and rip them to shreds with your hands. Would you be like, oh, that really happened, but it was good somehow? Or how would you deal with that?
So the way, and I believe me, I've had a lot of issues with the Old Testament God. I have always thought like, oh, this was like God figuring out how to ride the bicycle or something. But It seems like
That's fun. That's a really
yeah,
fun.
I know.
I just am visualizing him like with training wheels and stuff.
Yeah, it was just it's very different perspective from the further when we get into the Gospels, but this is not a. I mean, so here it's like it's a little bit of philosophical, but this is the way that I see it, and maybe other Christians don't fully see it this way because they haven't really thought it out.
We'll never know if you don't like get to saying what it is.
So when we say what's good and bad, right? If you think that, so God is omnipotent, all knowing, and if we say he's all good, he's a benevolent God, right? So that his end goal is for us to reach salvation.
Sure.
Okay. So the analogy I use is just like a modern one. If like you've seen the Avengers, have you seen like what was it, Endgame and all that?
No, but I
Doctor
get
Strange.
it. I like there's people die in it or something.
Well, no, it's like he looks at a million different options of how they will, how they will win, and there's only one, and it includes a lot of suffering.
Yeah,
and he can't I don't want to ruin the movie, but he can't tell Tony Stark what that choice is, or else he won't make it. So it's kind of that analogy. It's like what God can see is a much further down the line eternal salvation. So the everyday good and bad, and yeah, some of them are horrible things that happened or have happened, is all part of that to get us to that salvation.
But Carl, that's like there's a huge difference there. I appreciate the analogy, but like God has a very different role in this than Doctor Strange did, because God is making all these fates. He looks at all of them and then gets to pick the one, and he also can change them. Like it's not just like here's all the possible options. It's that there are infinite possible options, and God, get to choose it. God could have chosen the one where he doesn't have to threaten people with cannibalism, right?
That's not for us. I mean, we have no way of knowing that. So like if he is omnipotent and we don't understand the powers where his power came from, that's always a fun question. Or
so this is the best case scenario is God says, I'm going to make you eat your babies to scare somebody.
I'm not sure. Did he say that? Sorry,
yeah,
I'm not familiar with that.
That's really in there.
He didn't just come up with that. Like that's in there.
No, that's what I believe. Sorry if I'm not familiar with it, but
that's fine.
It sounds like an Old Testament thing.
Totally, yeah. So I'm giving you the Old Testament stuff because I think that you think it really happened. If you want to say the Old Testament didn't really go down like that, then you win.
No, I think it did. And I think that the Old Testament was very much probably part of its time. And so, like when you think of, all right, when God says, okay, go wipe out a whole population of people, which, still
I'll just read it real quick. In Jeremiah, thus said the Lord, and I will make this city a horror, a thing to be hissed at. Everyone who passes by it will be horrified, and will hiss because of all its disasters that he's making, right? And I will make them eat the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters, and all shall eat the flesh of their neighbors in the siege and in the distress in which their enemies and those who seek their life afflict them. I'm going to fuck you up so bad you eat your babies. That's what he's saying here. This is not okay to say. This is like, I can't think of any situation where a good person would go, right now the morally good thing to do is to threaten them with cannibalizing their children. Let's all go do that. Like that can't be ever a like well thought out moral thing. It sounds like something a deranged madman would say.
Well, if God is the King of Kings, right? Think of how a king operates or would operate at the time, or any king or any person in power that eventually has to go to war.
Yeah, any king that said that, we would be like, fuck this king. This is a bad king.
Or his people would be like, let's go.
They wouldn't. Historically speaking, whenever a king or a queen or whoever does deplorable things, a lot of the time they give the king a title to go along with his monarchical title because they hate him. You ever heard someone be called a mad king before? That's not a compliment.
But if it's done to their enemies, that's the other question. Is like, yes, there's a righteous way to do it, sure, and what you just read does not sound like the righteous way.
Right. So you're saying you think that maybe this was good because he was pumping up people to go slaughter someone else? And that's
think of it in terms of it being, I don't know, 6,000 years ago or longer. I'm not sure of the timeline, but that's what I'm saying. It's possibly, it's possibly during that time. That's how wars were fought. It was destroy your enemy completely.
But they're fought that way because God said to. That's what we're saying.
God asked that of the people that he was.
Was it good that wars were fought like that?
No, I mean, what wars were fought
so
like
God
that?
commanded bad
I don't know
things.
Did God choose wars to be fought like that, or did man choose it?
He's the one saying to do it.
But that's what I'm saying. Was that how wars were fought? Because God said it, or because man had already started fighting wars like that?
According to the story, now I don't think this is true. I think humans were just doing this and making up gods. According to your story, God commanded them to do it like this. This is his plan. It's his idea. He's the one who created the wars to be like this.
I don't know if he created the wars to be like that. I think man created the wars to be like that on that level. Because yes, evil exists, and evil has to exist. It's part of nature. It's.
Well, I don't know about evil having to exist. If you believe God is all good, then that means before creation there was only God, and that means that good existed without evil. So.
Here's Deuteronomy God. When you draw near a town to fight against it, offer it terms of peace. If it accepts your terms of peace and surrenders to you, then all the people in it shall serve you at forced labor. Okay, so he gives you two options. Go up and say, do you want to have peace? And if they go, okay, then you take them all as slaves. But if it does not accept your terms of peace and makes war against you, then you shall besiege it. And when the Lord gives it into your hand, you shall put all its males to the sword.
Yeah,
you may, however, take as plunder the
fought.
women, the children, the livestock, and everything else in town as its spoil. So either way, the women and children become your property and your schmeck's slaves, and the men die. Or the men become slaves. Those are the options.
Yeah,
this is the God saying, here's how to go do wars.
I think that's also the question of who wrote that. And that's how how wars were fought.
Moses wrote this, the guy who spoke directly with God and got all of his ideas from God.
I see. It's the same. It's the same thing. It's a subject of its time. That's how wars were fought. And I mean, consider like with the Egyptians and everything like that with Moses. That's a terrible story as well with the plagues and everything like that. But
so you're saying because
the Egyptians would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
That's
they
how
started it. Yeah, I get it. You're saying like they started.
No, I'm not saying they started.
No, humans started.
Men started. Humans.
That's what I meant. They. Yes. That's what I mean. They. I didn't. I'm talking about you or me. God is going, well, they started it. The humans were doing it like this. So what we're going to do is partake in it, and not just in the slaughter, but the slavery and the grape and the cannibalism and all the nastiest parts of it. We're not going to go, hey, you know what? We're going to defend ourselves and we're going to do what needs to be done, but we're going to do it the right way. That would have been great. We would have been like, whoa, the Bible is old and shows like very like ethical warfare techniques, right? Like that'd be really interesting. We would go, wow, this is like, they're really ahead of its time, but it's not ahead of its time. It's right in its time. Like it's as barbaric as when it was written, which is why we're saying God, being timeless, knowing that this was going to be viewed as horrible later, still did the barbarism and therefore is bad.
Therefore, but it had to happen in that way at that time. So maybe it wasn't viewed as barbaric at that time because that's how wars were fought. And so you're
limiting God, not me.
I'm just saying, I'm not limiting. I'm saying in order to get to that ultimate salvation, that is something that might have had to happen in the timeline. I mean,
do you think that's true of everything bad that happens? Because eventually ultimate salvation is happening.
Is subjective, though. It really is. Like think about it in terms of nature. Like, there's a lot of things in nature that we would say are awful, like, you know, lions eating their cubs and things like that. We were just like, why would this be allowed?
Do you think that's necessary for the ultimate salvation?
It's just part of nature.
You don't have nature in your view. You guys, this is the second time someone tonight has come up and said, well, that's just how things naturally. You don't have nature. You have supernature. Your nature is controlled. It's steered. Our nature is happening. It's out of anyone's control. Your nature is directed. You don't get to appeal to just like, that's just how things happen. God isn't up there just willy-nilly closing his eyes, stirring the universe. Let's see what happens. Your view is that God commands the universe to be the way it is. He made lions be like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, why the fuck would he do that?
Yeah.
Speaking of, he handcrafted the sun apparently as loses cancer.
Can you measure good without evil though? Can you actually do that?
Yeah. You just do it with neutral.
Okay.
Compare it to neutral.
You can't even measure neutral though. Only good exists.
Huh?
You just said,
can
you do it without evil? But there's not just evil and good, there's also neutral. So Mezzo says, as long as there's also neutral, you can measure good too.
Or even lesser goods. Even lesser goods, right? Like we could say like, all right.
Lesser goods would be considered evil.
Is that what you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard.
You think that like commanding cannibalism is like just a lesser good? Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't say that at all. I've heard.
But you think it's evil?
I think that yes, those are evil, terrible things
that God did.
That God commanded. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Weird point to take, but that's what we were saying.
You're asking how can a good God be so bad? It's the answer is that
he's trapped. It's out of his hand. He can't control it.
For us to reach the larger salvation, which we really can't even comprehend because you have to think eternally, then there are things that probably had to happen that were evil, and there's things that continue to happen that are actually in our hands.
Wait, but isn't God all powerful though?
Yeah.
Okay, so then there isn't anything that would have to happen because whatever this ending is going to be, God could just will it with no precursor. Like whatever this ending is, he could have just started with that if he wanted to because he's all powerful. So why would any of these things be necessary?
Maybe he did that. Maybe but he does. It's quoted that like we are his children and he loves us. So if you consider it like that relationship, if you're loving your children, are you going to control everything your child does throughout their entire life?
Maybe I'm tripping, but I don't think that addressed the word that I just said.
Yeah, like the necessary part of it. Carl, think about it this way. This is kind of similar to that. You know what an anglerfish is? You know the fish that have like a little light bulb thing on the end of their head?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
They live like in the deep depths of the ocean. They don't like usually get involved. Like anglerfish have been like coming to life and dying since before humans ever lived, right? It's like they predate us, right? They're just down there living and dying. They get cancer. Okay. Are you saying that for some reason, anglerfish getting cancer at the depths of the sea where we didn't even know they existed for years, them like getting cancer and dying in pain is like somehow beneficial to our salvation? That serves a greater purpose?
That's not something that, I mean, if that was all chosen, like that is part of nature.
Unnecessary. So are you saying that I'm wrong? That there is actually a reason for that?
Well, that's the part of nature. That's the part of like when you create the world, the world, and then just let it allow free will, and then that's it.
The anglerfish have free will?
Why not?
I'm just clarifying what you're saying.
Yeah, I think
so their free will is to get like natural cancer somehow?
Most living things can get.
They're not like knowledgeable of cancer. So that's just happening. Okay. So is it necessary for that to happen, or is it just like a byproduct of nature?
That's a good question. I mean, I can't say there's things that would cause it. And
who's it helping? Is the real question, right? Like who's it helping? What's the good?
I understand, but I mean, that is something like you're picking something that, yes, it's a terrible thing, and sorry for the anglerfish, but I'm saying like, okay, if that wasn't in the world, what else would you choose? Like, what would be the next thing?
Sure, yeah. So when we do philosophy, yeah, absolutely. We sometimes like start with extremes to see where your boundaries are. If you're like, yeah, fuck anglerfish, they deserve cancer, then we go.
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Okay, I'm not saying that.
We can't control.
If you say that, then we go, okay, what about kids? And we move it on. If you say, yeah, they don't deserve it and they get it and it's unnecessary, then your whole argument falls apart, which I think is what's happening right now. Thanks for the gift, whatever that was. And thanks for the raid. Sorry, people came in with a raid earlier. Thanks so much for coming here. I appreciate all of you. Do whatever you want. Yeah, you guys can leave though, like if you want. There's other lives happening too. So which is it? Do you think it was necessary or not?
Necessary for anglerfish to get cancer?
Yeah. Is that required for the better good?
Yes.
Okay. How?
It's just part of nature.
And so that somehow helps humanity?
If you want, I would say, like I said, this world is it's like our plane of existence. It's, if you want everything to be made pristine and perfect, that's how we did have it, right? I guess in the Garden of Eden, but things there were still natural, right? They were still nature. I don't think nature is something we can control.
Do you think that like, okay, let's get away from the anglerfish because that didn't make any sense and it's confusing and yeah, there's gymnastics happening. Let's go back to humans now. Let's draw it back in and let's like, not even natural stuff, but an actual like attack. Like if someone does an evil, is that necessary for the better good? God allows it. God allows like someone to, break into my house and steal my cat because in the long run, this is going to be better for humanity or something.
I think the understanding is that when you think of a all-powerful being that chooses to be benevolent, right? Chooses to go towards the light, towards good, right? That's what God does. And we were supposedly created in his image. He wants us to choose that as well. And when we don't choose it, yes, we will probably serve some sort of punishment for it. And we feel that. We feel, even at least most people that could feel that would feel bad about what they did, like feel that this is wrong, know right from wrong, and choose to do right. So when bad people, when evil happens from the hands of man, that is our choice. But no, I'm not saying it is for the greater good.
Should we still be held accountable for it?
Held accountable for our evil?
Yeah.
That we commit?
Yeah.
Sure.
But
I would hold myself accountable.
But God doesn't?
God doesn't get to be held accountable?
Yeah. We don't get to say, well, that was bad, God. You did an evil.
Well, it depends on what end result you want. I mean, like I said, if he's trying to get us to salvation because we're his children and he loves us, do we trust that?
No.
I know it's a tough.
I don't know why we would.
Decision. I think that's the toughest decision, and that's where everybody's like, you have to have faith and all that. And I've always been that's where a lot of Christians kind of just stop. They're like, well, you have to have faith, and that means that they haven't thought about it enough.
All right, I want to read one more verse to you, and then we'll probably move on. We have a few other guests here. It just sounds like there's nothing really happening here, but I want you to just like realize that a couple things. One is that in the story, God does evil things. You've kind of admitted this.
Yeah.
Right? You're saying that like there's evil stuff. He's also described as being all good. There's a way for God to not be like extra evil. There's a way. He's all powerful. There's always a way. Literally, by being infinitely powerful means there are infinite numbers of ways, which means one of the ways solves it without all the bad stuff. But he chooses the bad stuff. Okay. After a certain number, now, if one thread of cannibalism slipped out of someone's mouth, we might go, all right, he's joking, or that he lost his temper. But after a while, like how many bad things does someone have to do before we go, okay, this ain't good? And here's just this verse I want to read. I haven't read this in a while. Woe to those who devise wickedness and evil deeds on their beds. When the morning dawns, they perform it because it is in their power. They covet fields and seize them, houses and take them away. They oppress householder and house, people and their inheritance. Devising wickedness in their beds isn't like a fuck thing. It's like while they're at night, they're like, I know what I'll do. It's talking about like premeditated crimes.
Scheming.
Yeah. It's like, don't do that. Don't think about all the bad stuff you're going to do. It's evil. It's wicked to even to think that. There's Old Testament, and he's already kind of going like, don't even think the bad thoughts, right? Woe to them. Now the next verse says, thus says the Lord, now I am devising against this family an evil from which you cannot remove your necks. You shall not walk arrogantly, for it will be an evil time. He says, don't even think about all the evil acts you're going to do. Don't devise those evil acts. What I'm going to do is devise an evil act. This is nuts. This isn't good. He doesn't have to do it this way. He could do anything slightly differently. There are other solutions than.
But that's from that's a perspective from, like I said, if this is an omnipotent, all-powerful being, right? Like, I don't know if you like comics, but like Dr. Manhattan, but better, like bigger than that, right? Someone who's completely all-powerful, but says, okay, good has to be like a choice you make. Like if it's a choice, it seems like maybe God had to make that same choice. He chose to be benevolent, to be good.
But not really, because like good, like all good, right? He's supposed to be all good, not some good and some bad, right? The story is that he's all good, but he's choosing some bad. There is a solution. Like if you have infinite power, you have infinite options. You have infinite solutions. One of them, it doesn't have any bad in it. That's what heaven is, right?
Yeah, I guess you could say an eternal salvation of heaven, where yes, the bad is removed. There is that reality.
But I think it never starts to begin with.
But would we even know that reality if there was not anything bad or negative in the universe?
Great. We don't have to know evil. We don't have to know suffering, torture, and pain. That sounds fucking great. Why do we need that? Why do we need to be like, is heaven so boring? Is that what it is? It's like, if we were just like born in heaven, we'd just be like, this is too great. I don't know. But now that we've been like, oh yeah, I remember on earth it was so terrible. And I remember all that terror. And now I know this is great.
Yeah,
is
18 trillion years into your time in heaven, you're like, oh, I remember that blip. That lousy blip.
It just could be also perspective. And it's like I said, because the evil and the bad things are subjective in a lot of cases. But I think that as a society, we move forward and recognize these things are wrong. But if you notice, there's still terrible things happening.
I think that's the headline, Carlisle. I think that's the headline, and Mezzo mentioned it ages ago, that all of the things that the God of the Bible commands rests very neatly in the imagination of the people of the time. It's the best that they could think of, and it was also necessities that they would have to go through as actual soldiers in actual battles. There was no actual supernatural being that was actually helping them. And so that's why they end up with these types of stories. And that fits so neatly. But when we have like the all-powerful God that can do literally anything he wants, all of a sudden it's really confusing. Like that's what we're struggling with here.
Well, that
and
fits into
like,
your story the same way.
That's maybe what he wanted to do. That's not very satisfying.
If you have the cure to cancer, is it good to share the cure, or is it better to withhold the cure?
I would ask the drug companies, but I assume they already have the cure and they're withholding it for profit.
Right? Is that good or bad?
That's horrible.
Right.
But that's
Does
on
God
man.
know the cure for cancer?
I'm sure. Yes.
Okay, and so he's not telling all of us. We should all know it. Every one of us should know what it is, because he would go like, here it is. It's in your brains. He knows the cure, but he's withholding it. He's worse than the pharmaceutical companies because he's not even getting money for it. At least they're
How
getting
is he
paid.
worse than but men are.
He's
men
just doing
already
it to
knows
fuck with us. There's no goodness there. It's not all good. The all good thing to do would be to not even need a cure. He does it himself. He eliminates it. Great.
Not only that, but like Mezzo's sitting here. If there was a God that came down and said, hey, Mezzo, this is how you cure cancer, he might believe in this God. But this is evidence for the God not existing, right? Like that's what all this is. So now billions of souls are going to hell because they're like, we can't get our heads around this fucking cancer shit. This guy's not, he doesn't exist.
People die from cancer and go to hell. And he has the cure.
This is an exponential growth of
why would they go to hell?
People go to hell in your religion. All right, Carlisle. We're gonna move on.
I'm just trying to answer your question. Thank you, though.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Thank you so much. It's just getting tedious.
You should think things through for yourself.
It's late and I'm tired.
I'm getting late too. I might be going to tired soon.
Oh, period. I love that for you. I hope you go to tired real soon, late.
I've been up since 3
a.m.
Actually, a.m.
Oh.
Yeah. I was at Disney this morning. I had to drive back.
And now you have your cute little sunburn.
I do.
It's so cute.
Again, super racist.
Yo, please don't cancel me.
My Irish side would be happy for that. Oh, thanks, Carlisle, for that. You don't have to give that concession of a galaxy. All right, Sam. Thank you for coming. I do appreciate you always being here. I would say you're not canceled so far. I'm going to keep you. You're cleared for today.
Oh my gosh! Yay! Also, bye, Joel. Bye,
bye, Sam.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Now, this person came up coughing. The Mineralstry of Doug. I assume came in with a raid. I don't know if they meant to come up.
Probably not.
My bad. I did not mean to come up.
You're not even. I'm not even going to talk to.
He was
Dougians.
He was coughing because Doug doesn't heal. Doug doesn't exist.
Heal. Yep. You have some gravel in your throat there, buddy. What you got?
Don't play into their hands. They love that. They love puns.
I had a joke. Oh, it was something about how if Doug is real, explain. Fuck. What are they called? Gallstones.
Yeah. Yeah, kidney stones or gallstones.
Kidney stones. Yeah, that's the better. I think the better one of it.
Sounds better, right?
Yeah. All right. I'm so tired. Fenrin, welcome in. Glad that you're here. Are you of age and are you a Christian?
I am 38 and I am not a Christian. I'm a pagan.
Okay. Well, it's the top of the hour.
Folks, we're going to take your picture right now. Everybody screenshot your screens. That's right. We just took your picture. It's 1:17 a.m. in the morning. We're here at Bad Bible Debates. Mezzo hosting. I'm just hanging out on JRB, and we got Fenrir in the hot seat. Hey, Mezzo, why don't you take it away, bro?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Top of the hour. 1:17 a.m. in the morning. Live.
Fenrir, you said you're 35 and a pagan?
38 and a pagan, yeah.
Oh, shit.
This is a problem because
38 years old and a pagan.
Too many gods.
That's too many gods, for sure. How many gods do you think are real?
I think most of them that we conceive of are real.
Could I make one up right now?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know.
Make up one. I think that there could be something about that, but I think for the most part that there has to be a connection of sorts to a group of peoples who can collaborate on the message they get from said gods.
That's a good point. Why do you come here?
To the world, to here, to this particular.
Yeah, just to the live. Like, did you have something you wanted to say, or what's going on?
Just trying to investigate my own religious ideas, and I do notice that most atheists only really have to engage with Christians more often than not.
I think it's because it's like silly to believe in all the gods. Yeah. And especially like if we were to make one up to be like, yeah, maybe there's some of that out there. Like that's just like it's absolute nonsense.
I guess it's like demeaning the like a value of the entire idea of a god. Like you've like lowered it down to be utterly meaningless because you can just like make one up. Like I have an omni-purple cat. That might be a god, right? That like serves a purpose. People talk about it. It comes up in conversation. And so is that one now?
I wouldn't say so, no. Again, I think that there has to be some sort of like collaboration of messages from a group of peoples in order to...
Yeah, there's chat coming in right now talking about it. Now, I'm with you. I don't think it counts as a cat. So you say just if enough people come up with it, then it becomes a god?
I think that if a god exists that wishes to speak to a group of peoples, it wouldn't do well for them to just engage with one. They would have to engage with a group of peoples in order to have any sort of following message.
Follow-up question. Why do you think any of this is true?
Mostly personal experience and using the whole of humanity to come to the conclusion that there is some sort of message giver. There have been countless millions of spiritual experiences that we...
Well, I hope you got consent before you use creation's whole.
All right, fine.
I hate the fake laugh.
I just was laughing to get rid of him. I was trying to make sure he didn't say anything.
He said, "I use creation's whole," and like that was a beautiful.
I thought you liked the fake
beautiful. Laugh. Well, I would prefer a real one. Like I think that was pretty fun.
But don't you think it's better if we both fake laugh together?
Oh, like when it's not, but only when it's not funny, and we can do like a big fake laugh, and then the guest doesn't realize we're doing it fake, and then they.
So do a good joke worse and make the good joke not funny, and then we'll fake laugh.
Like right now?
Yeah, maybe like you know what I mean. Like sometimes you do like those good things where you like stutter over a joke for a while.
Yeah. Well, I'll do one with Easton.
Okay. Hi, Easton. Welcome in. You've been here before.
Yeah, I have. How you doing, Mezzo?
You still believing in Christianity and stuff?
I'm holding on. Still Calvinist, but Joel, big fan. Glad to be on with both of y'all.
Thanks, Easton. Are you right-handed or left-handed?
I am right-handed.
So where's your twin brother who's left-handed, whose name is Weston?
That one did get me.
Because he's the almost like the opposite.
Now I get it.
And then Weston, okay, fuck this.
Is that better?
It's my mortal enemy, so we don't mention him. So,
Joel, do you want to laugh at this one, or
I don't know. I was trying to join in on the fake laugh.
Guest's jokes. We just laughed at my jokes. So
okay. Sorry, guest. That's not. Those are the rules. But we can always do this. So, Easton, what do you have to talk about with us today?
Nothing, man. Just listen to the last few conversations. I think I'm on board with where you're coming from about the free will argument, being more of a determinist in the overall view of Scripture. The libertarian free will doesn't make any sense in dealing with like this question. So, but yeah, I guess just going off of you and Joel's perspective and how y'all approach this, like how are you defining good and bad?
Yeah, just like, well, there's two ways, right? So one way would be internal critically, which means it's like almost hypocritical, right? So if God is saying don't murder and then murders, well, God's the person, he's the arbiter of good, and he's saying it's good to not murder, and then he does it. So that's his own problem, right? If he's the arbiter. So Joel runs this great thing about, do you want to do the thing about like feeding people, or did I mess it up?
No, it really just depends if, Easton, you believe that God, the grounding of, do you believe in objective morality?
I would hold to that. I would say that's the overall Christian view, like classically.
Yep. Do you believe that the way that we get to objective morality is that it's grounded in God's nature? It's not just like his arbitrary subjective choice, but it's literally grounded in his nature?
Yeah, I would say it's rooted more in his nature more than so God says it, therefore it's good. It's rooted because
it's who he is.
Yeah, it's who he is.
Yeah. Okay. So like we love, and it is moral for us to love because God is love.
Yeah.
So kind of like our moral obligations are grounded in who God is.
Yeah, I would say that's a perfect definition in classical Christianity.
Right. So do you believe that I am morally obligated, or we as human beings are morally obligated to feed the starving when we can?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
When we can and have means, yes.
Right. Okay. So could God feed the starving all the time forever?
I believe before the fall, absolutely.
Now he doesn't have the ability to do that?
I believe he does through common grace and through agency of like the church and other people that don't necessarily follow him. Like I imagine you guys feed the hungry when you can.
Easton, you're saying to me that God literally like could, like he's not able to do that today.
He's been overpowered by the sin of the fall.
I wouldn't say overpowered. I would say
the answer doesn't work. Then he should be able to overpower the fall.
And I think the Christian answer to that is it's going to be done at a later time.
So then let's just go back a step then. So if I am obligated to feed poor people, starving people when I can, that means like at a later time. Like I don't have to do it right now. I can wait till they die and then eventually do it, or I can do it right before they die, or what's my obligation then?
Oh, sorry. I misunderstood what you were saying.
No, I don't think you did. I think that you
change it. Well, change it.
You're not misunderstanding. You're misunderstanding where we're going with this, right? So I pointed out my moral obligation, and then I'm just saying like, well, God has the ability to feed starving people. He must. He's all powerful. Now you're saying he doesn't, but I think that's kind of some weird ethereal sort of like doctrinal reason, but not an ability reason. He has the ability.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue that.
Yeah. So if it's our moral obligation to feed starving people when we can, and our morality, our moral obligations are grounded in who God is, then God's moral obligation must be to feed starving people when he can. And he can always feed starving people, but we do see starving people, so God doesn't exist. Or your theory on morality is wrong.
Okay, I see where y'all are going with that now.
And the reason we bring it up is just because you said, how do you determine what good is? And so if we're going to go, like we said, off the internal critique, which is your internals, we're going to go deep inside of your internals and critique them. We're going to say, okay, then it's grounded in his nature. And so we're obligated to feed the starving. He's not feeding the starving. So God is being bad, just based off of his own grounded moral nature in what that was, what he grounds in his nature. So that's a big problem for him. Now, in our view, just to kind of reel it back, if we're going to say in our view, like what I think is bad, yeah, it's just going to be stuff I think is bad, right? And I'm open-minded. Like if there's something I think is bad and you want to convince me otherwise, like my morality is more fluid, right? I'm not like locked in the way God is described as being. I'm open-minded to change. So like I think sending people to hell is bad. So if you want to change my mind on that, I'm open to it. I don't think hell is real anyways, but even threatening people with hell I think is bad. So if real, God's a dick, so that it's just based off my preferences.
Yeah, okay. So like we can use hell as an example. Like, would you say a judge is a dick for sentencing a guilty murderer to a sentencing for their crimes?
What's the sentencing?
Torture, right?
Not necessarily. Like, I think that understanding of hell is very more medieval. Like the way we understand hell as described in scripture can be very ambiguous, but it always leads to a second death, like a cease to existence.
Yeah. Well, then if that, so what's the judge sentencing in the metaphor? Let's play it out. Let's do this. Joel, you are, I'll be the lawyer. My defendant Joel here, he's pleading guilty. He murdered.
What? I thought you were going to get me off.
No, I was saying I'm going to get you off before the thing, and I meant jokingly. Yeah.
Sorry, with what? With, the way you did in the car, just.
Yeah, that's what I was. I was like, I'm going to get you off right now.
No, that's not. I didn't know that's what you meant.
Fully a cum thing, only cum.
I thought it was going to be the thing from the charge.
No, and that's why I was like, after when you came and I was like, did you do it? You were like, yeah, I did. I was asking if you did the crime, so we're pleading guilty now.
That's not what I. Okay, is it too late? I don't.
I think we already said it. So he killed the guy. It was just his neighbor or something. So Easton, what's the punishment for Joel as Judge Easton?
I am too relaxed to fight back right now.
It always works.
I mean, in this scenario, it would be the death penalty.
Okay, yeah. In that case, I would say that's too fierce, too harsh of a crime.
Even though
too harsh of a punishment. Yeah.
So even if it was a grotesque, premeditated.
Well, don't add to it. I did one murder. Relax.
But
he premeditated, but only for 20 minutes, and then he was like, "I'm doing this." So either way, even if he'd been planning it for weeks, I would say if our goal is to have less murder, and so we murder somebody, that doesn't really achieve that goal. So yeah, I'm against the death penalty. I would say that judge is a jerk and was too fierce. Put him in jail for 35, 40 years, and then check and see how he's doing. Maybe he needs longer.
Yeah. So again, let's use the Austrian painter. Would that sentence be necessary for him?
Which one?
The sentencing I gave Joel.
Oh, the death penalty? I would still say no. I would say just put him in jail forever.
Forever.
Yeah, and silence, don't let this thing where they go and we're interviewing the Menendez brothers or whoever. It's don't do that. Just they get silenced. They don't get a voice anymore. God, my wife said the funniest thing one time, and I think I've shared this story before, but we were moving to a town in Central California a long time ago. And we were like, let's check out the neighborhood newspaper here and kind of see what the vibe is here. And the vibe wasn't good. And someone had quoted Hitler about something, but it was look, all of his quotes weren't bad. Here's a good quote. And it was about art or something. And we were like, fuck. And she said, honestly, you just can't quote Hitler anymore. Even if the quote is I suck, Hitler, you still can't put it up. Even if he does that. And it just cracked me up so much. He doesn't get a voice anymore. and he just like lives out his life wasting away. I think that'd be the best thing to do.
Okay. I mean, I can respect that position. Like, that's something that, you know, I don't think comes from a heart or bad place. I just think as God is ultimate judge, as Christians just describe, as he's described himself in the Bible as holy and perfect, we can never live up to that standard. So he's going to execute judgment in a holy and perfectly just way, and then extend mercy and love.
But Easton, are you a universalist, or do you believe in eternal whatever hell is?
I would hold to an annihilationist view, to where those who have not followed Christ won't be like mindlessly tortured for all eternity, but their existence will cease. So like it'll be like death here, and then because I believe in both body and soul, the soul will cease to exist as well.
But Easton, if Hitler believed in Jesus and accepted Jesus into his life before he died, then he gets to go, right? There's no justice. It's just mercy for believers. That's the only justice.
I would say there was also justice in...
You think he'd get punished in heaven?
No. I would say God can execute justice here on earth and still practice mercy spiritually, like the justice for sorry.
You don't can say Ava Braun's husband.
LeBron's husband.
LeBron's husband, yeah.
Yeah, would be the justice he received here on earth was his annihilation. And
eventually, what? That's justice to you?
I mean, yeah, the war ended and his regime was brought down and he died. Did he not?
So he has a bad legacy here on earth and he dies, and that's enough justice?
I mean,
for what he did, in your view?
I mean,
in heaven, he gets to go to heaven?
I mean, I don't think in reality that's what he did, but in the hypothetical,
Dahmer did.
I mean, yeah, but I would say again, like that does show the immeasurable grace and mercy of
right. That's what I'm
God.
saying. Right. So Dahmer's a better example, because in your Calvinistic view, God programmed Dahmer to eat people racistly, to like grape and eat people, and then to convert later, and then to go to heaven. And some of the people he ate go not to heaven. They just get annihilated there. And so there's no justice happening. This is not a like acts are resulted in appropriate like consequences. That's not what's happening. What's happening is a bunch of acts, and then the people who God wants in heaven go to heaven. The people that he doesn't don't. That's it. It's absolutely arbitrary. It's so fucking bad. It's so bad. You're right to be a Calvinist. Like, if you're going to be a Christian, you're right. God is in control of everything. But you're wrong to worship him because he's dog shit. He's a POSFF. Calvinism is crazy. It's why we all left. We were like, oh yeah, it looks like if God's behind all this, he must be a monster. This can't be true. It says he's good, so the story's wrong. I don't know how you can say he's good and sends Dahmer to heaven and people that got ate to hell. Or to annihilation. That's crazy.
I mean, yeah, I can understand that. Again, that's something for me to think about seriously, and give it some serious, considerable thought. And then, I think from a New Testament example, we have the Apostle Paul before his conversion.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a Dahmer.
I wouldn't say he was a Dahmer, but
he ate a few people.
He ate a few of those Christians, those crispy Christians.
Well, God was like encouraging cannibalism earlier. Maybe he just is fine with that. Maybe in God's nature, that's not like a necessarily bad thing. Maybe it's how we should be feeding the starving. Joel, have you ever thought about that? Feed them yourself?
With Christians. Feed them Christians? I don't know. I'm getting
Who said crispy? Okay. So nobody feed anybody to anyone else. Easton, I want you to think about that. Think about how silly this thing is where Dahmer gets to go to heaven. you just can't use the word just anymore. Justice has to be like removed from your vocabulary, because that's not what it is. It's this arbitrary deciding of who gets to go and who doesn't, and then what acts happen on earth. He's also deciding. It's all this puppetry. It's like, it's theater again, Joel, but this time it's like marionette theater, right?
Yeah, the just goes away, and I think if you're really honest with yourself, good and loving also go away. Until you just redefine the words as whatever God says. But then the words don't mean anything. They just don't, they're just non-words under Christianity, your version.
Okay. So Mezzo and Joel, y'all both came from like Reformed backgrounds, like Calvinistic backgrounds?
No.
No.
I was Baptist.
In my home, they were always like, we're not Calvinist. We're not Calvinist. The amount of times we said we're not Calvinist, or my parents, and like, we're not Calvinist. Anytime anybody would like give a Calvinist, and I remember one, like my best friend's dad.
Are you serious?
Yeah, for sure.
I thought you were joking.
I'm not joking.
I didn't hear the word Calvinist until I was 33.
Oh, we were deep in all the doctrines. So we would they would always discuss things, but I didn't really understand what it was. But they would be like, we're not Calvinists. Anytime any sort of loosely Calvinist doctrines came up. And as I deconstructed, I sort of like came to the Calvinist understanding where I was like, oh, there can't be free will, and God must be doing all of this, and it's just this brutal theater. The thing is that as a normal person, Easton, I said, oh, that's evil, and so God can't be good, so this is ridiculous. This is definitely not true. But you're going like, oh, well, I'll just lean into that. And that's just bizarre.
I read a lot of Calvin and Hobbes. That's like genuinely where I learned the name from.
That's a good book series. So
we had like all of the books with all of the comics. That was like a really good thing. So like, and I knew that they were named after philosophers. Like I knew that, but I didn't really know about about the philosophers, like what they said. I didn't know about predestination back then.
Calvin is named after John Calvin?
Yeah.
No.
And
what?
Thomas Hobbes. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. The guy was like just like a philosophy. Bill Watterson was like a philosophy fan. I don't know if he was like a Calvinist, but he just thought it was a cool name. And also the character is sort of like, here I am trapped in this world where my parents and the teachers and everyone else is in charge, and I don't have like much, like it was him like feeling like everything is being chosen for him. And then Hobbes is a bit more of a like just like humans are shitty, which I think is a little bit more of what like the Thomas Hobbes's stuff was. So I don't know, like I don't know Hobbes that well, but it's that same era as, I think in a similar era as Calvin. So I don't know if he was just a philosophy fan or what, but you can read, like if you read Calvin and Hobbes, when they do like these deep existential things, like you can tell he was a Phil bro.
Yeah, he's a fantastic artist and really, really smart.
Yeah.
Fantastic, fun.
I was just like so disappointed that people use that thing of Calvin peeing on stuff for bumper stickers. He never did that. There's no drawing anywhere where he did that. Someone else did that, and it's like the main thing.
Yeah, he was pissed. It's not even in any of the books. That's just like, it's a heresy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Gary Larson's good too. But Easton, what were you going to say? You're going to say, I'm going to leave the cult now because you're right, Joel. It is ludicrous to believe it.
You've definitely given me things to think about. That's something I've appreciated about both you guys. Like when y'all brought me on to talk recently, kind of dealing with this question myself in a personal way, just in the loss of a friend's child. So this has been not just a thought experiment.
It's not theoretical anymore.
It's not a theory. It's very in front of my face, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's kind of me wrestling with my own Reformed theology and dealing with this kind of theodicy question.
Yeah, because I think that's like, when it comes to like reality, it's really hard to go, God is loving, but like none of this has to happen. It's just all his literal play. Like he's orchestrating every single part of this. and then you see the pain, and it's like, why though? Like, why if this is just completely your arbitrary choice? Like, this is sickening. That's not loving, that's not good, that's not just. Like, those words go out the window entirely. That's why they're like, it's an untenable worldview. Like, Calvinism, as much as it's the most coherent with the book, I would say, and like the logic of like an all-powerful, all-knowing being, it's the darkest and most evil version of Christianity to actually hold.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, these are things I'm currently wrestling with and really trying.
Keep wrestling.
Yeah, so it's something I'm putting a lot of serious thought into because, you know, as a Calvinist, we're really big on the sovereignty of God, and, you know, versus like Romans 8 and 9, and, you know, all things work out for the good of those who love him, and just kind of dealing with this own personal thing is like, how does this work out for good?
Yeah. All right, this is all fascinating, but I've been looking up the Calvin peeing on stuff sticker. Do you guys want to hear the history of it?
I'm always down for a good history.
This is a milk fact. Last milk fact of the night. Okay. This article is called "A Bootleg Empire Built on Micturition." Now, do you know what Micturition is? Joel, you probably know.
I don't know. No.
You're into it. It's something that you like sexually. Like, look it up.
Is it being demeaned?
Nope. Micturition. Okay. This is like, if you guys Google it, just know Joel likes that. Okay. So, okay. Watterson originally was totally against any like stickers of any kind. He think it like cheapens, corrupts the product.
Yeah, he was like anti-merch.
Yeah, just don't do it. Okay, and then the drawing is taken from, he's like actually filling a water balloon, and in the thing where he's looking back, and they just like edited his hands in front of his thing and added P. Okay, so NASCAR is to blame. Not necessarily the organization, but NASCAR racers were the first ones to start doing it. And so they started like showing, like they would put it on their car, like NASCAR, he's peeing on other NASCAR drivers' numbers or something like that. And it just kind of like got out of hand and people liked it. So it started with dipshits. And guess who loved that? A bunch of other dipshits. And if you have a Calvin peeing on thing sticker on your car and you're here right now, just
you're a dipshit.
Just get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, and so there's a whole bunch of them, and it just got out of hand. Like NASCAR even tried to like say, we aren't part of this, like we want to stop this, and no one knows like who's making them, who's selling them, like who's making money off of this. However, Bill Watterson made a joke about it all and said that long after the comic strip is forgotten, those decals are my ticket to immortality. So he was like, he's gotten to the point, because he is just kind of like, fuck it type of person philosophically. And so he kind of was like, yeah, whatever. Like I can fight against this piss thing, or I can be like, yeah, whatever. That's just how it was.
Yeah.
Yep. So interesting stuff. He wasn't a fan of it, but also he like, who the fuck cares that it's not worth caring that much over. The attorneys are doing stuff, and he's like, like the makers, like the people who the publicists of the books were like trying to go against it. Yeah. So.
Do you ever hear of Bloom County?
Yeah.
Bloom County. Do you know the comic strip?
I think we've talked about it before.
Yeah, there was the Penguin.
Yeah, we've talked about
Opus.
Yeah, this like crazy cat.
Yeah, well, Bill the Cat is a mockery of Hobbes. Like it's a
really?
It's a not a parody, but it's like Bloom County. It's whatever his name, Berkeley Breathed, sort of like making fun of whatever Bill Larson, and they would do comics back and forth at each other. Oh, and that's funny. Bill would make fun of him for like merchandising everything constantly, and then Burke would do comics back.
Fun rivalry, comic rivalry. Yeah, that's silly. I like that. They're probably like really good friends in real life or something.
I don't know. Because I think Bill is a bit of a like a not introvert, like what's the worst? Like not worse than introvert. Like a hermit. He's not like somebody that hangs out.
Yeah. Easton, thanks for coming by tonight. I'm going to move on. And
Sounds good, Mezzo.
the show doesn't have very much time left, so come back another time. We can talk some more. Your beliefs are incorrect, and you have a chance to change them and find yourself on the right side of reality here. Something to think about.
Yeah, always appreciate it, man.
Take care.
Come back and tell us you're not a Christian anymore. We'd love to hear it.
Now we have a few final guests here. We're running out of time, so we're going to do all three at once. Our Mustard Seed, Young Promo, Peter Pan. At the same time, tell me your ages and religions. 1, 2, 3, go.
20, Christianity.
42, Christian.
Okay.
I turned 23 in July, and I'm a Coptic Orthodox Christian.
Okay. Because it's near the end of the show, you will hear a little bit of background music start to come up in a bit. I will try to hold it off as long as I can, but it's through my software system. It does automate it, and we have about 11 minutes left. So why do you guys think a good God can be so bad?
Go.
Who would you like to go first?
All of you.
Whoever has an opinion, I guess.
So I can go first. Okay, so if we date back to God, what God created free will, and what free will created is sin. And sin, the definition of sin is death. It's very simple.
Wait, hold on. So free will has a agency. Like it can create things?
Not necessarily an agency, but we as humans have the choice to make something, to do something good and do something bad.
The outcome is created.
It's not something.
Oh, okay, so it doesn't purposely create free will.
Yes.
Okay.
What happened is Lucifer went against God, and that was because of his will, not by the divine.
Is he more powerful than God?
He thought he was. That's why he's in hell.
His worked.
Exactly.
And feel free, Young Promo and Peter Pan, if you guys want to jump in on Lucifer and free will.
That's why we call it pride, because he was prideful of himself. He thought he was greater than God, which he wasn't, because he is not divine. And so
happy Pride Month, by the way, Tim. Thanks for reminding me of that. It's almost the end of Pride Month. Appreciate all of you out there. Enjoy your pride out there. Sorry, Peter Pan, you were saying?
I'm going to celebrate into July.
So when we answer the question, how can a good God be so bad? It's not according to God, but according to the will of man. That's your
right. So I think Peter Pan wanted to comment on that.
Why are
or
you
was that Young
correlating
Promo?
moral relativism to God? That's not the concept of what they were talking about. They wanted to know how can a God be so good but yet be so bad? But God is perfect, so cannot be so bad.
Gotcha. So God would be worse if he controlled us and did not give us the choice. But he gave us the free will. See, before the ages
Wait a second. Hold on, but our music, I didn't ask to have free will, so isn't that God controlling?
He's Mustard Seed. His name is Mustard Seed. He's like the smallest mustard.
He's the smallest seed ever known to man. Yeah.
So before the ages of time, what people would argue to want is what would happen. There was no sin.
Smaller.
Yo, Mustard Seed, I don't think they care about your opinion. I think they're just here to kind of troll.
What?
Well, they asked the question.
Peter Pan will drop you if you lie.
And I don't want to say I'm evangelizing, but whoever's watching this live, they may hear it. They may know.
Amen.
Do not say you have not been warned.
I'm sorry, I just got up here. What's happening?
What's the warning?
Talking about God being bad.
That God will come back and that you need to repent.
So Mezzo, if you had 100 kids and you controlled every thought or conscientious action that they could ever do, would you instill them with free will?
Would I give my kids free will?
Not by the will of God.
Would you?
I would give them some choices, but not choices that would lead them to murder and grape each other.
How do you know
you guys can pick all the candy options you want. You can have whatever pie you want. You can have whatever I give them a bunch of choices, but not unlimited. I would be no one can kill each other with brain magic.
How do you deem that's wrong?
How do I deem that's wrong?
Yep.
It's just my personal preference.
So
you asked me, so that's what my thing is.
It's so weird. Can we do a vote? How many people on the panel think it's okay to kill children with brain
Please give me an
magic?
explanation on why you get your personal preferences derived from you.
I get them from my surroundings, I think.
Yeah, so that's another circular meaning. So
Peter Pan, the question was, I'm just doing a vote. Do you think it's bad
Joel,
to
it's a
kill
little hard
children?
to hear. You got to talk a little louder, Joel.
Sorry. Do you think it's bad to kill children with brain magic? Peter
I think
Pan
it's
or
bad
good?
to kill children
Hold
with
on,
brain
let me try to turn this off.
Okay, so that's
Before we get the music off.
irrelevant.
I'm just trying to get the music off.
Mustard, do you think it's bad to kill babies with brain magic?
You see, we can ask these
don't answer
ridiculous
that question.
combinations.
It's
Hey,
conceptually
Peter,
irrelevant.
please let me answer. He asked me the question. You can ask these ridiculous questions, but the truth stands firm. God is not evil, man.
I don't think it's ridiculous. I think it's bad.
Very ridiculous.
Joel, let me try to turn up your volume.
Turn me up because I can't hear these guys.
Shit.
God is not evil, Manus. That's all I have to say. And that's all everybody has to hear. Because God created, and we chose.
You got to speak a little louder. Joel, are you there? Joel, can you still hear me?
Joel's gone.
He's supposed to be doing this part.
Oh, he left. I think he's gonna come back up.
Oh, can you take over?
Me?
Just anyone, yeah.
Just give me water, y'all take it.
Can't really do anything. That's better. How's it going, y'all?
It's going good.
Good.
Tyler, are you a Christian?
Yes, I am.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Are you?
Yes, sir.
Cool, man. Is Mezzo dropping out or what's going on?
I don't know what's going on.
Joel dropped out? Kelsey, are you a basketball player?
Yeah, but this isn't me. That's Cole Anthony.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Christ is living. He's the Lord of all, right?
Right.
Did Mezzo just pass the torch on to us?
Yo, Mezzo, you there? Yo, Calvin, are you a preacher?
I'm in seminary now. I do some street preaching. You can check it out if you want. Definitely get a lot of pushback, but it's TikTok for you. How about you?
See, I'm a basketball player, so I think that's what God is coming out here, and He's giving me that plan and that that gift of just being an athlete. So yeah.
Cool, man. Are you playing college now or what?
It was a good life.
Yeah, I'm playing for college. Yes, sir.
We're offline now, just kind of wrapping things up here. I'm gonna close up my system. How are you? No, it's over.
Are you talking to me?
Oh, you are. Yeah, no, I can pick you up after that for sure.
You know what? Before I leave, I will evangelize. When God comes back, do not deny his divine nature.
No, it's offline.
He will judge everybody. And I want everybody in this life to hear.
I closed it out.
And I'd be selfish. If I wanted
everybody alive, repent.
In love with God.
I was talking to Mezzo one time,
What is
Joel, and basically how to say is God is the necessary precondition for all things, and apart from him, you have a circular worldview, and it's viciously circular.
Fuck, is this
Hey, shit. I need to get out of this. That's what's crazy is that even if you're in a bush and you're in the sunlight, you're gonna burn up. So you have to find shade of a tree in a bush. Here, there we go. I'm just gonna go prone right here. I got a black ghillie suit on. I'm blending.
Yeah.
God. No, my character's vision went black for a second, and I was like, "What the fuck? What's happening?"
Oh shit.
And he's getting dizzy.
Yeah, mine's 38. Feeling hot.
Yeah. But yeah, and then when we build a car, then that main have that, dude. Yeah, if we do the bottom of Z1, find just a little corner somewhere that there's not a lot of foot traffic, and we can blend in there. Then if we get a car, we can easily go from Z1 to Z2 and Z1 to Z0 and drive on those main roads. And look, they literally connect us to the bunker, that bottom corner of Z0, back up to those main hangars we had, over to the bridge to A1, to back to B, to the B section where more airfields are at B2 and B1.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, dude, totally want to do.
Good.
I think that'll be good.
Because then we also have Gun Factory.
Yeah.
Dude.
We're gonna have a good spot for our base. We're still gonna be able to get plenty of loot, and we'll still have plenty of PvP moments. So I'm totally down for it.
Hell yeah.
Sweet. All right, I'm gonna put my guy here in this little bush right here by this tree, and I'm gonna back out.
Okay.
Force log out. Oh shit. Well, that was fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, we had a
fucking
decent run.
this raid. You were the one who was getting all the action and dropping people. Holy shit! Shot that dude in the face.
Yeah, that was crazy.
God damn.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll let you go. I'll see you later.
Cool. Sounds good. Later, dude.
Night.